Good evening, all of you style esports fans out there, and welcome to our best of three tonight, the last game of the season for each of these two teams. It's Glacial Nebula taking on the Holy Divers for a chance to pick up that first seed in the intra-group playoffs at the end of the season, which is just in a few days. Glacial Nebula is 3-1, Holy Divers 4-0. So it's a battle at the top of the Piltover group, bringing you this series. I am Jarl Carl, and tonight I am joined by Axeman87.
What's up, guys? Saxman87, and yeah, I'll be color casting here for you tonight. Got Glacial, we got Holy Divers. I believe Glacial has, you said, a shot at the seed, so this is a pretty important game for them indeed. But they're all important games, folks, so I'm eager to get started with this champion select here. We should get started in just a little bit. Yeah, there it is. Okay, now we're up. We're through the ban phase already, and we're into the picks, so we got some pretty good bans for you. Got 3 junglers banned from Holy Divers, Azrael Kane and Wukong, and a bunch of top lane, a bunch of solo laners banned from Glacial Nebula.
That is true. I like the jungle bans. I think jungle is a very important position to kind of pinch out. In the current meta, jungle a very, very influential role, and despite all of those bans coming through, it's pretty much just the bot lanes being picked up so far for these two teams. Glacial Nebula going with the Misfortune Nami lane, going to be up against the Jhin Leona that was picked first rotation for the Holy Divers. I like the Jhin pick a lot, X-Men. I think the Jhin is kind of like sleeper OP in the bot lane. People that know how to play him can get a lot of work done with this champion. He's actually quite safe, has a lot of damage early, has a lot of damage late. Get a lot of work done for anybody, essentially, in the current meta. You just shoot people and they just kind of die. There's not a lot of, skill expression on the auto attacks, especially, which is like, the most basic part of his kit. And then he has his, root and his ultimate that can do a ton if you can land a skill shot. So a very high skill cap champion, and very strong, even if you don't play him, perfectly. So I think that's one of the reasons he's also quite strong. But Jin's very, very strong right now, even though nobody's really playing him.
Yeah, definitely, and he's one of those champions that's strong throughout the game as well. I have to say, I think we're seeing Missing Link on Jhin here because Misfortune was picked away from him. We've seen Missing Link do incredible things with Misfortune. Watch him get a pentakill, watch him hard carry games all the time. So I think Glacial Nebula have done well to take that champion away from him. So we'll see him on the Jhin tonight. I know we see him on Jhin before too, so not necessarily picked completely out of their comfort zone, but yeah, these are definitely two champions that Missing Link knows a whole lot about. Whether Blast Pro can make good use of Misfortune remains to be seen. I have to say, though, I like the Jhin Leona lane a little bit better, but that is a really solid lane to Misfortune Nami. That's pretty incredible. We got a lot of good champions, actually. Syndra coming through as the mid laner. Dift is going to be picking that up for Glacial Nebula. J4 coming down for Stolen as well. This is a comfort pick for Stolen. We see Stolen on this champion a whole lot. I would say J4 probably a little bit weaker now than he has been the rest of the season, but still very much a strong jungler, I would say. We're seeing top lane bans come through here. Volibear and Ornn taken away from Glacial Nebula, and yeah, Volibear has really made a comeback after the hot fixes with the AP scalings on E. I think that was a really good buff to him. And Ornn, of course, has been powerful for like 2 seasons now, I think, or approaching that.
Yeah, that champion's pretty good, regardless of whether you're good at him, if you're bad at him, whether you have a poke comp, any kind of game, you can just put Ornn into the comp and it's probably going to be okay. And that's one of the reasons he is so strong. I'm a little surprised to see top lane bans after the jungle pool had already been pinched a little bit and they had picked up the jungler for themselves in that Jarvan the 4th. So they might have kind of a first pick top lane or second rotation here in mind. Maybe it is that Pantheon. They just wanted to ban out some counters, so that could be the strategy here for the Holy Divers. But nonetheless, there are still some tanks available if Glacial Nebula want to kind of put an end to the damage in the top lane and just kind of tank up the Pantheon, stop his early game, and that can get a lot of work done. Graves picked up as well for the jungle, a really, really strong jungler, prioritized a ton in solo queue right now. So a little bit surprised not to see that banned out, although maybe they think the Jarvan is a fine matchup into it. Not too sure, what the teams are thinking, of course. But a very, very strong comp already for Glacial Nebula. We'll see what they round it out with in the top lane. I think like a Maokai here could be really strong. This is a really good comp for Glacial Nebula.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially, so one thing I criticism I think I have is that it's a little weird last picking a tank top laner. I feel like this is like a viable first pick. Obviously, they picked Misfortune away from Missing Link in this case, but I don't know why they wanted to get like a counter pick on the Maokai. I feel like you last picked Syndra here, but that's hey, that's the direction they chose to take. In the end, they picked basically a go even tank champion into Pantheon, and I'm not sure if that's the best scenario here. They definitely needed frontline. They definitely needed to pick a tank. It's just kind of where they picked in the draft was a little questionable, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Although, I think the draft worked out for him pretty well in the end, so not a whole lot to criticize there. The only thing I would mention a little bit is the Nami pick, especially into Jhin Leona. I think Nami is going to have a very, very hard time surviving in lane. I think Adriana could find themselves in a whole lot of trouble if Leona is able to get on them, because Nami doesn't have a lot of escapes. She won't have cleanse, I would assume, and Jhin Leona, they can lock her down really easily, and she's really squishy. She has one heal to throw for herself. So I think that's probably the questionable pick for me. I would have liked to see maybe a Nautilus come through, and I think this comp really rounds itself out. I think the Nami could get punished just a little bit in lane. But I like both drafts, actually. I think, both of them have their own various win conditions, and they'll be probably playing around those to see who can come out on top.
Definitely. The win conditions are always important. One thing I think more of a criticism I would have for Holy D here is that their comp, while fairly balanced, is all burst damage, right? I mean, you're looking at this, where is the sustain coming through? And it really isn't in my mind. Basically, if Glacial Nebula survive the first 2-3 seconds of a team fight, they just win because there's nothing else coming from Holy D. So that is a criticism I'll have, but it's almost a strange criticism to make because there is so much damage. It's hard to imagine Glacial Nebula surviving that initial onslaught. I mean, especially at every portion of the game, really. I mean, Pantheon J4 are coming at you in the first couple levels. Late game, Cassidy and Jhin are going to be bursting your entire team down. So it is a balanced comp in so much as they're not falling off or anything. And they're not having any trouble snowballing, but they don't have much frontline. They don't have much sustained damage.
I think the Jhin is the sustained damage on this team. It's not as sustained and as much like of a DPS style as an on-hit AD carry would be, of course. But he can still put out a lot of damage in the late game. He gets so much speed from the Zeal items and the crit city builds that he can kind of kite around fights and really just throw in those autos, and the attack speed kind of gets lost. The fact that he doesn't have it as much kind of gets lost in the late game compared to in the early game. So I think they do have, a chance to win extended team fights if Missing Link's able to kite out correctly and throw those autos in appropriately. But like you do say, they do have a lot of burst. Cassidy tries to kind of one-shot people. Pantheon's going all in. Jarvan's going all in. They have a lot of dive, too, in these fights. So Missing Link could find himself, a little bit kind of just left out to dry, as the other 4 champions on his team really want to be diving backliners. They really want to be going in. And so if, the Graves or maybe not, or maybe the Syndra can kind of just get the burst combo down onto Missing Link, there's nobody to really peel for him or really keep him alive. He doesn't have a shield. He doesn't have a heal. He's just kind of sitting in the backline by himself.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that we're talking about Holy Divers so far. It's not like there's just a bunch of sustained damage coming from Glacial Nebula. You obviously have more, I would say, but it's not like you make it a couple seconds and then all of a sudden Glacial Nebula are like, just consistently winning these longer team fights. I don't think I would say that because, Misfortune, Syndra, Graves, these aren't, big sustained. There are also a lot of burst in this comp too. It's just that there's like a little bit more, especially when we talk about team fights. I mean, even just bullet time as an example, even though it's relatively short, that's a lot of sustained damage coming through, and in a big area. And if J4 and Pantheon have to wade through that to get to the backline, it's going to make it real difficult for them to get on. And add things like Maokai into the mix, and they're going to have a difficult time doing it. Now, what I will say to your point is that if they can get in the backline, they're made, right? I mean, you have this massive frontline tank in Maokai, and that's it. Everybody else is squishy. So yeah, those dive champions would love to get on that back line because there's really not anything protecting them once they get back there.
Yeah, 100% do agree with that. And there's also a lot of ways to interrupt this bullet time. You mentioned how it is that kind of sustained damage there for Blast Pro. She's going to be trying to get that off channeling in those team fights, but Leona, Cassidy, Jarvan, and Pantheon can all stop the bullet time relatively easily. Pantheon, it's a point and click. Jarvan has to land the EQ, but on a champion that's not moving because they're channeling bullet time, it's basically a point and click. Leona has her ultimate and her stun. Cassidy's Q will interrupt the channel. So there's a lot of ways that this ultimate could just get removed from the fight, and I think that's another big way to turn this fight if they can keep bullet time from being that massive crowd, almost crowd control essentially. You mentioned them waiting through the damage. If they're able to remove that from the team fight, the damage that's available for Glacial Nebula really goes through the floor, essentially. Graves is just doing some bursts. Syndra has her one burst combo, but Miss Fortune's ult is like a massive tool for team fight damage, right? And if that gets taken out straight away, especially if she's getting killed, if she's getting dove by the Pantheon J4, she's probably not going to survive. I think her flash will be very important in this game. So I think Blast Pro is probably the one to watch in these team fights if Glacial Nebula really wants to come out ahead on these fights.
Yeah, definitely. So we kind of talked about the mid game and the late game as well here. I think that's probably fleshed out enough, but I guess I just want to talk about these lanes. There's a lot going on in these lanes for sure. You have top lane where Maokai basically just wants to kind of get to the late game and be a late game tank, not trying to get a lot of advantages. On the flip side, you have Spartan Might, who is a Pantheon main, I would say. It's in the name. And he wants to get advantages early. He wants to fight, and then he wants to take those advantages to other lanes. It's going to be difficult for Spartan Might to get that against Maokai, I feel like Gentleman Joby just kind of sits in this lane and soaks up XP, and that's the end of the story. But that is not at all what Pantheon wants to happen. So are we going to see some early game dives? With the J4 jungle, I would say maybe. Maokai isn't a great dive target, but both of the champions are... Oh, here we go. This is going to be a fight here.
Going into the bush, Missing Link gonna have to expend the flash, done very early, maybe a little bit too respectful. There was no real crowd control really to lock him down. I think he probably could have just healed and walked out with that Nimbus Cloak, but decides to expend the flash, and that's a free summoner gain on the Jhin just for them walking in.
Yeah, I feel like if Adrena hits the bubble here, he's probably dead, so I don't necessarily hate the flash, but you're right. I mean, there's not a whole lot of CC coming through here. There's a lot of damage, I would say, but not a whole lot of CC. So maybe you walk out of that one, but I'm not really into level 1 coin flips, so I'm probably just flashing, and I mean, it's fine. Obviously at a disadvantage moving forward, but I don't think Graves is really the type of jungler that's going to be able to take advantage of that flash missing, so it'll really be more of a lane thing, and the all-in from MF Nami is kind of questionable as well, so we'll see if that affects the lane, but my guess would be probably not. All right, we do have J4 starting up on the top side of the map. It's a little strange if you've been jungling in Season 10. He looks to be clearing the full side of that top side of the map. Might be going like a full clear top side and then looking for a gank on a Maokai top side, like I suggested, but...
Yeah, Maokai is not the world's greatest champion to gank, especially with the Aftershock take. He has Aftershock. That looks a little strange to me. I don't really know why. I feel like that's pretty standard, but he has the Aftershock. He's able to proc it very easily with his Q. I would assume his W also procs it because that is CC. So that's going to be a very tanky Maokai to dive. He can drop, he can go untargetable with the Twisted Advance. So there's a lot of ways that a dive on a Maokai can go wrong, right? I mean, you can pretty much kill any champion under a turret. You have enough damage 2 versus 1. The problem is like ways that it can go wrong. And there's a lot of ways the Maokai gank can go wrong. Flash Twisted Advance on you, push you back into the turret, you go down, your friend dies as well. Suddenly he has a double kill and it's a disaster, right? So I think we will not see a dive top. I think it's just too risky for the Holy Divers. Maybe you want to get this Pantheon ahead, but I think it's probably better for the Pantheon to be trying to gank other lanes, maybe with his ultimate once he gets it, maybe going mid on Dift or something. I think that's less risky than trying to dive this Maokai, because at best you get like 1 kill and a lane advantage. At worst, you like give a double kill over to the super tank.
Yeah, we got Spartan Mike getting that Deep River ward. Does not want to get ganked up here with Maokai. While Maokai is very difficult to gank, like you mentioned, Maokai is great to gank if you're on his team, right? There's so much setup there. He can heal through turret dives, all this stuff, and does a capable amount of damage himself. So Graves would love to gank this lane, despite Pantheon being at a really strong point in the game for them right now. I feel like Graves could probably pull off this gank top lane if he wanted to, but you're right. The J4 gank top, super difficult. The only thing that would make me think that they have a chance is that they're both super heavy engaged champions with a lot of damage themselves. So if there were champions that could pull it off, I feel like it would be these ones. It would definitely be dangerous though. It'd be super coin flippy, but we're basically just seeing J4 going for this full clear both sides, just trying to get that first back, hit a power spike, and then maybe try to get priority in a lane, and then try to roll that into an objective when the dragon does spawn. Dragon in less than a minute now in about 45 seconds, so that could be the move here. We're seeing Graves do basically the same thing, full clear. That's a little more standard for Graves, though. I would probably expect Graves to just full clear every single time. He has a great clear, and that's basically what Graves does. You just kind of scale up super fast, and then you do tons of damage.
Yeah, I think we haven't really touched on this a ton yet, but we also have we should note that Holy Divers mid and bot lanes are both losing pretty early in the game. In this early game, they're just not really going to have a ton of success. We saw Missing Link and Rare Candy get pushed quite heavily against by Blast Pro and Adruino down in the bot lane. The Nami, the early game on Nami is so strong with that E empowering the abilities. Misfortune can lay down and make it rain and put out a lot of punishment against this Jhin Leona that really need a couple more items to really get going. So we're seeing Missing Link taking a lot of damage down in the bot lane. And the same is true for the Kassadin, right? He needs his ultimate for sure, needs a couple of items to scale up a little bit. So these lanes are pretty weak early on, and they don't give great gank targets for Stolen. And then on the other hand, for Aliuna, your lanes are pushed up, right? So you can't really make the yanks happen on those. And so I think that's kind of contributing to this just full jungle clear situation that we have going on, is Stolen can't really gank, and then Aliuna's lanes are too pushed up to gank anyway, so not quite what they were looking for. Rapcore getting pushed in quite heavily in the
yeah,
down 2 waves of CS already and forced to recall. That'll probably be his teleport expended as well.
Yeah, that's super rough. I mean, at least he's got somewhat of a lane freeze in the mid here, so maybe he doesn't lose like as much as if we were crashing in. But yeah, this is super bad, right? I don't think I would expect the Kassadin to lose this hard to Lissandra. Definitely hearing everything you said, Stolen going to be in the bot lane here.
Going in on this Misfortune. Nice flash to get away, but it's not going to be enough to escape. The Deadly Flourish still gets CC'd up, but Rare Candy burning down to the flash force shot coming through from Missing Link. The kill actually picked up by Rare Candy. Must have been Ignite taking it at the same time. Aliuna has arrived on the scene. Rare Candy and Missing Link both very low. They could be going down in a few shots here. Adruina running forward. Supportal combat, he's saying on this one, wants to make that happen. A flash from them. The Evans was going to be enough. Might have been Scorch. I'm not sure what picked up that kill, but Missing Link is going to go down. Adruina picking up that kill. Both supports winning these fights in the bot lane.
Yeah, I think it might have been Airy there, but not 100% on that one.
It seemed delayed. It's like the Evan flowing up and then they just died. So
yeah, it was something. Maybe a gust of air killed the Jhin there. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure Missing Link used that flash forward on cooldown, because remember he expended at level 1, so it must have just come up recently, because they used it at like 6 minutes there. Yeah, very good move there. Unfortunate Rare Candy picking up the kill. I think you're probably right about that Ignite there, and we're looking at the top lane right now. Not sure Spartan Might can solo kill this Maokai. I feel like that's going to be difficult for him, so maybe you want to just kind of take Carl's advice and try to roam to another lane. What's bad for Spartan Might at this point is that your ult target, the obvious one, would be mid lane, right? Because you can walk down just a little bit and then essentially ult to mid lane. Oh, here we go. It's going to be a gank.
Rapcore has to get themselves out of this one. Gentleman Joby's arrived as well. There's the Rift Rock with the flash from Gentleman Joby. Twisted advance, making sure that kill is secured. Aliuna picking up that kill.
Yeah, and this is a combination of Rapcore basically being desperate for CS at this point. He's obviously like down half of the CS of Diff right now. And a miscommunication error. I feel like he should have known Maokai was going mid lane. Spartan Might should have let him know. But that's just how it goes. It's gonna be another gank.
Holy Divers bot lane in a lot of trouble with this gank. Rare Candy trying to escape this situation. Missing Link has already fallen. The W might be enough for Rare Candy, but it doesn't look like it will be. Blast Pro picking up that kill in the bot lane. The bot lane of the Holy Divers falling victim to another gank from Aliuna. That lane going very poorly for them. I said it was going to be great. It turns out maybe not quite as strong as I thought.
Yeah, and Diff using Unleashed Power there in the enemy jungle onto Stolen. Stolen taken down to, I think, 30 HP, so very close there. Now it could be Rapcore's in trouble. Nope, gonna ult out of there as Aliuna picks up the first dragon of the game.
First dragon, always important to get at the early stages in the game, I should say, and that has been picked up at about 8 minutes. Rapcore dodging some damage in the mid lane, still getting traded back quite heavily, though. Diff doing a lot of damage. They just got to the week to cut away that Rift Walk damage. Exhaust goes down as well. Rapcore very low. A couple more auto attacks could do it. The Rift Walk is available. He's going to be able to get himself out. Rare Candy has arrived as well, but it looks like that is going to just fizzle out. Spartan Might now running for his life in the top lane. Out of mana and a little bit low on HP. Gentleman Joby doing pretty well for himself in the top lane. Looks like he might want a little bit more, but the Spartan's able to walk himself away from that one.
Yeah, and I'm not really picking up on the Phage pickup here. I guess maybe if you're going Black Cleaver, you're looking for like armor shred, and for that cleave effect. But I mean, the Phage passive in particular, not really useful. I mean, I feel like you're already keeping pace with this Maokai. He's a massive tank. He's not going to outrun you. So at least for the time being, Phage not doing too much for Spartan Might right now. So I'm almost wondering if the Kindle Gem would have been more useful for him, but I guess it didn't really matter either way. I just never had any kill pressure onto Joby, so maybe I'm making a mountain out of a molehill. Stolen in the bot lane.
Blast Pro in a lot of trouble here. No flash to get out. We mentioned the flash would be important. Blast Pro very low. Deadly Flourish could pick up the kill, but Stolen is going to finish that one off. Adruina finding themselves falling in the death chambers. This bot lane has become quite volatile. Both these lanes getting killed by ganks, and it's really a lot of partying in the bot lane so far.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on down there. We mentioned that Maokai would be a difficult gank, and so would Pantheon, really. So a lot of things going down the bottom side of the map. We actually haven't seen Rift Herald picked up yet, as it has been there for, I believe, a couple minutes now. So yep. we haven't really seen any focus on that, which kind of surprises me. I feel like maybe Stolen makes a play for that. Seen some trade in the top lane, nothing to come of that. Here's the dive in the bot lane.
Dive in the bot lane. Blastcar trying to get himself out. This is a straight tower dive by Rare Candy, and Missing Link heal's been expended for a bit more speed. Missing Link just running through everything, gonna pick up that kill. Adruina now running back to their inner turret. Ooh, the Zenith Blade goes a little bit wide, misjudging the dodge direction there by Adruina. He's gonna be okay, but that is not good for Blast Pro in the bot lane, missing a huge wave of CS into this turret.
Yeah, definitely. Now Missing Link is looking pretty solid. He's got the CS lead. Take a look at the gold real quick. Looks like he's up about 1,000 gold as well, so doing very well so far in the Jhin. Yeah, I wouldn't say Jhin is too far behind Miss Fortune in the early game. Probably behind. I think MF is pretty solid in that early game. Ooh, Joby might actually... No, what am I saying? Maokai would never go down here. I thought maybe he might have been in trouble. It really looks like Spartan might. Yeah.
Really flipping the script. Spartan Knight was forced into those Mercury treads. I'm losing my mind, but forced into those. We're gonna see Stolen get hit and killed at the same time by the collateral damage, flashing in a straight line after the Herald went down. Not what you like to see. Gets hit with that one, as we are gonna continue on here. Herald was picked up by Aliuna, so that's gonna be good for them. Glacial Nebula now have that 3-0 jungler as well. Probably going to use that in the mid lane right now. That's going to be going down on this tower. That tower is going to go almost all the way down, probably actually all the way down. 2 plates exactly is what's taken out by that Herald. So that tower is going to be taken out. Spartan Might in the top lane as well in a lot of trouble. He is just getting bullied by this tree. The Maokai in the top lane, Gentleman Joby, doing very well for himself. As this Herald pushes strong in the mid lane, Stolen gets pushed back by that Scatter of the Weak as well. This team fight going to fizzle out, as it looks like Glacial Nebula going to walk away. Dragon is up in around 1 minute, so I'd expect them to just reset for that and probably walk over to that one. This Syndra is also quite a strong point in this game right now. Level 10. I'm going to check how close is she to level 11. Not very close. I was going to say that ultimate is huge when it's ranked up. I would expect to see her recall before this Dragon, but she's going to need to do so shortly if she wants to get out in time. Diff now running for his life. Rare Candy walking forward. Solar Flare is available. That's a scary ability. No flash up on Diff, so that could have been disastrous if it had been used there, but able to get himself away. Diffed, that is, and all the flashes are now available for the side of Glacial Nebula. The same, except for Stolen. We're going to have to hold that thought, fighting the bot lane. Missing, we get a flash away. Gets exhausted as well by Diff. That ultimate has come down. Unleashed power used in the bot lane. The bot lane now down below 50% Holy Divers. This Dragon could end up just kind of going over to Glacial Nebula on the back of that trade. Diffed expending the ultimate and the exhaust. But probably worth it if you can get that second Dragon out of the game. That scaling is so important. We might actually see a dive as well. There's pings going down to set that one up. Solar Flare has been used. Bullet time coming across. That is huge. The tidal wave as well. Stolen very low. Everybody very low. There's the curtain call. It has been opened up in the bot lane, but everybody is full health. There's no engage to be found here. Not going to get a whole lot done. Missing Link not achieving a whole lot of success with that curtain. That show is going to be taken off the air definitely on this one. Dragon has gone down. Picked up by Glacial Nebula. It's going to be a Mountain Soul, so that could be very important. We're going to see a fight here as well. Stolen very low. Collateral damage is available if he's going to just be able to shoot him down with that one. Flash forward as well. Cataclysm not going to be enough. Aliuna now on a rampage. This tower now under fire. More plates going over. A lot of plates have been taken this game as they do now fall, but a huge amount of plate money has gone over for Glacial Nebula in this game. Very well done by them. They killed the entire mid turret, and I think 3 plates on both top and bot. So that's 11 plates worth of gold. Ton of gold going in their favor. Might see yet another fight in the bot lane. Rare Candy flashing over the bubble. Teleport being called down as well. This is going to be a 4 versus 2 fight. Rare Candy has to get themselves to safety. No solar flare is available. They're going to be going down under this turret. Absolutely. Gentleman Joby has picked up that 1 kill. Missing Link firing a few shots in, but it's not going to be enough. Diff trading on with Rapcore in the mid lane. Who's going to be able to get themselves out to safety? Still down about 60 CS. This lane has not gone at all how Rapcore was hoping for in the mid lane. Down almost 2,000 gold already in this game, so that is not at all the plan for this Cassidy. He will, of course, scale up into that late game and eventually be able to fight that Cassidy, but Missing Link going to get engaged on under this turret. The flash twisted advance from Gentleman Joby going to be picking up that 1 kill. Blast Bro, she has secured that kill for herself. Stolen around, but not able to lend any support. Missing Link going to go down once again under this turret, and it looks like so far the Holy Divers have really just gotten kind of run off this map. They're losing most of their lanes. Spartan Might has, you know, this super early aggressive champion been completely brought to a standstill by Gentleman Joby up in the top lane. He had to buy those Mercury Treads. Doesn't even have an item completed yet. He's just gotten nothing done. Cassidon's fallen really far behind. The bot lane's been kind of back and forth. Not what they were hoping for in the bot lane. He has the Storm Rager completed, so this Jhin is probably the strong point on this team, along with Stolen so far. They are the members that have the kills and are those kind of, gotten to that item spikes already. Warrior completed, Storm Rager completed, so they're not crazily weak. If Missing Link's able to get some shots in a team fight, it definitely could go in their favor, but Aliuna on the Graves just needs to be brought down by this team. He is so strong. That champion is strong. He has the resistances from the passive on the E, I believe. And has 4 kills, item completed, almost has the Black Cleaver, so that's almost a 2-item Graves at 16 minutes. That is not somebody, probably anybody on this team can 1v1. They're going to need a couple of members, so he needs to be the focus target in these team fights if they are going to have any success in them. Rapcore going to get stunned up in the mid lane. We could see a nice push come through. This tower's already pretty low. Did get hit by the Herald earlier. Spartan Might now taking a little bit of damage. There's the ultimate from Gentleman Joby. Going in onto with Spartan Might. Adruina has arrived on the scene as well. Bubble goes out, going to have to be flashed away from by with Spartan Might. Flash also expended by Dift in the mid lane to get away from a Zenith Blade from Rare Candy. So working out okay for these champions, getting themselves away, but they do have to use those summoners traded across the map 1 for 1. Those could be important in the next team fight. Spartan Might not going to have the flash to engage, whereas Dift not going to have the flash to maybe go for a flash kill, flash ultimate perhaps, or get themselves away from and engage from the Holy Divers side. So calming down a little bit here. We're going to have a little bit of farming by these teams. Stolen actually looking to maybe go for an engage. Going to get hit by the bubble. Stolen take it. There's the Unleashed Power straight away coming out. No stun, I don't think, for Diff. There it is coming through. Scout of the Week. But Stolen is going to escape. That mid push I talked about earlier has come through as well. Adruina hitting onto that tower, doing very well for themselves here as they're going to back off and maybe look toward the Baron.
Yeah, and I am back. Sorry about that, everybody. Something came up, and it couldn't wait. So I am back now. It looks like Glacial Nebula really taken over this game. They got like a 6k gold lead, something like that. 2 dragons here. Dragon Soul is going to be Mountain as well. Could be impactful for them. They don't have like a huge tanky team. What I will say is Aliona on the Graves is trying to build some armor here. That's going to help them with grit. And those bonus resistances from the Mountain Dragons will definitely stack up this Graves fairly quickly to the point where he's almost at a frontline status.
Yeah, Graves does that. We're going to have to hold that thought. Diff, a little bit slow on the reaction there onto Missing Link. Thought he maybe could have picked up that kill, but no Unleashed Power available either. So a nice spook onto Missing Link. He's going to be running himself all the way back to base. He doesn't want to recall anywhere near Diff there, but you were saying the Graves and that armor coming through. Graves can be incredibly tanky. It's kind of like him and Wukong to me are the champs that kind of randomly become tanky based on their passive when they just don't seem like they should be tanky, and you're hitting them as an AD carrier, as a mid laner, and they just kind of aren't dying. And so Aliona is so strong this Graves right now, really tanky, has a ton of damage, and is really a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I would throw champions like Galio into the mix as well. You'll see like this giant statue thing with 3,000 health, and it's like, all you have are Proto Belt and Zanyas. Why are you so tanky? This doesn't make any sense. But now it is going to be Glacial Nebula. They are taking this first Mountain Dragon that spawned. This will put them on Soul Point here, Carl. So this is going to be very impactful. We already talked about the ramifications for Aliuna and Graves, but It seems a little bit more obvious, but obviously this is going to be huge for Maokai as well, right? This frees you up to either really stack up the resistances or just build more health items, because your resistances, you don't have to buy as much anymore to get at that same level. And for Maokai, I think that's probably where you go, as you build more health items like Spirit Visage that are just going to increase your healing, instead of, things like, I don't know, what's another MR item, the Adaptive Helm or something like that. So maybe you go a little bit more for the health here, but we'll see where they go with it. They do have a Glacial Shroud in their inventory, which might mean
Frozen Heart.
Oh goodness, yeah, Frozen Heart or Gauntlet. Yeah, I would probably say Frozen Heart, but this is the fight.
Yeah, there's the fight coming through, already taking off Adriana away from the team fight. They're going to be in the death chamber. This fight going very well for the Holy Divers. Actually have picked up 2 kills, only lost Rapcore at the same time. Gentleman Joby was not in this fight. Missingly going to probably get caught by that ultimate. Joby going forward. Does he want to take the 1v4? It looks like not quite yet, although he might want to go for the re-engage. Eliona is here. This is still a 4 versus 3. If Glacial Nebula do want to take it, they are winning in this game, but at least in this fight, they are the losers.
Yeah, and kind of that foresight we were talking about in Champion Select, how the Holy Divers would just win fights if the fights were short. We're seeing that come through. That was like a 2-3 second fight. The Holy Divers won it. If Glacial Nebula want to continue having success, they either need to start itemizing a little bit tankier in some of your off carries like Graves, or you just always have to have Maokai with you, because if Gentleman Joby's not there, you lose the fight. I mean, the Holy Divers are just going to straight up dive you, and you're going to get deleted by their entire team.
That is true. You do need to have the tank. I think the Maokai is such an integral part of this team comp that he needs to be there, either right at the start of fights or immediately as the fight starts, coming in with that teleport. He needs to be right away in the front line, because he is just so tanky. We've seen what he could do too with Spartan Might in the top lane, and he's unkillable essentially as long as he's able to get those heals off. There's only the healing reduction so far on Spartan Might, so he's going to need to be making sure that he's getting those hits onto Gentleman Joby to stop those heals coming through, but he needs to be in those fights, Gentleman Joby, absolutely, or they could find themselves in a world of hurt, kind of like they just did, right? He showed up kind of late. He was still kind of 1v4, right? And it still didn't make a whole lot of difference for that.
Speaking of 1v4.
Yeah. Spartan Mike going to find himself in a 1 versus 3. I don't think he has a whole lot of future in that. He does not. Blast Pro picking up that kill for herself. 3-3-3 now on the Misfortune. Pretty close to that Infinity Edge as well.
Yeah, so Unleashed Power is used there from Dift, and while the cooldown isn't like super long, it is most of the damage that comes from a Syndra in, say, a team fight. And for Diff to put this down just for Blast Pro to pick up the kill, not 100% on that one, Carl. Not sure if maybe they're just trying to feed up Blast Pro at this point, but I feel like Unleashed Power maybe not used 100% correctly here. Curtain Call comes onto Summoner's Rift. Doesn't get too much.
Yeah,
and,
Gentleman
Joby. Nebula.
Gentleman Joby got hit by 2 of those shots, and he did not take damage, basically. So I think Missing Link might want a refund on his show there. Didn't quite work out as he was hoping. Rare Candy just kind of watch as this Baron goes in favor of Glacial Nebula. They are just running this map over in terms of objectives. Both Heralds, 3 Dragons, and now the Baron have gone in their favor. They are doing very well for themselves. Iceborne Gauntlet was the choice for Gentleman Joby, so he's going to be putting out a few more slows when he goes for these fights. I would expect to see a magic resist item, thus coming in third, I should say. Excuse me. It is just the Cassidy doing magic resist or doing magic damage.
I was gonna say.
I would Spirit Visage probably still worth it just because it increases the healing as well, and eventually Rapcore is going to do damage, right? Cassidy, is a scaling champion for a reason. Once he gets level 16, even if he's behind, he's kind of like Ornn. He still just kind of can take over the game. So I think Spirit Visage would be a wise choice here, although I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, we've talked at length about the burst damage thing. I feel like if I'm Joby, I just need enough health and resistances to not be a real burst target for any of the divers. And after that, I just have to survive the physical damage coming from Missing Link, because he's their only sustained damage. I mean, I don't see Rapcore having any success in team fights or anything like that 1v1ing Joby. That doesn't seem productive for them. Oh, here we go, Rapcore.
Rapcore has to flash themselves out of that situation. Spartan Might taking a few cues from the Syndra. Diff going to back themselves off, though. Happy to take the flash and go. Exhaust was used, but you take that Summoner trade every day.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, I did want to talk about the Frozen Gauntlet, or Iceborne Gauntlet, I think. Is Iceborne Gauntlet? Yeah, Iceborne Gauntlet. This is a very aggressive choice. I feel like your team has tons of damage, and oh, here we go. Now Diff is going down.
feel like we've seen this movie before. Spartan might have
Yeah.
to walk himself away once again. Diff not going to be going down. Gentleman Joby tanking up in the mid lane, but Missing Link is going to be hitting him for a very long time before he goes down. That's a very tanky Maokai at this point, so nothing going to come of that. And the Soul Dragon has been started up uncontested for Aliona.
Yeah, and at this point, I don't think Holy D can really contest. I mean, they have Baron empowered minions kind of just running it down all of their lanes, and that is going to be still point for Glacial Nebula. So they have all those resistances now. They also have the passive shields to Nature's Grass coming through. This could be a fight.
Going in onto Spartan Might. He has been the target so many times this game, trying to get behind that shield of his very low. He's going to go down. Aliona now dominating on the Grave 6, 0, and 2. That Soul Shield is buffing up their entire team as they break the bottom inhibitor turret, going on toward that inhibitor. It's going to be falling very shortly. Blastro has picked up the kill on that one. They can just rotate into the mid lane here, Axeman. They do have minions. Once again, the Baron buff on for a few more seconds. They should be able to break this tower as well. It's still a 4v5, plus the soul buff, plus all those extra resistances from the dragon. That tower stands for only a few more seconds. It goes down. The inhibitor going to follow as well. That's a double inhibitor play taken pretty much uncontested.
Yeah, and if you're Holy D, you pretty much just give things at this point that you don't have any way to contest. You do have scaling options, but most of that potential was in Rapcore, who is now considerably behind. The rest of it's in Missing Link, who is, on par with the rest of the map, I would say, but if he's the only power point from Holy D, they just aren't going to have any success in these fights. We've seen the damage Missing Link does to Joby, and while that's not really the metric I would judge a marksman on, you have to be doing some damage to the tank, right? I mean, he's literally tickling the Maokai, and that makes me think that the damage to the squishy targets isn't going to be great either. Maybe not enough to carry on, at least, I would say. So definitely having damage issues here. Against all the odds, right? I mean, there's so much damage in this team, and they're just finding no way to get it onto the Glacial Nebula, and it's been insane. Glacial Nebula played this very well, indeed, and the Baron isn't coming up for another 2 minutes. There's over 4 minutes, on Elder Dragon. So at this point, you're looking at Glacial Nebula getting their last resets in and just kind of pushing to win. Looks like we're looking for the top lane turret here, but I think they're probably just pushing in the last lane where there are structures. I really think they probably could end now if they want to, but they have the scaling too, so it's not like there's a stopwatch or a timer on this game for them. They just keep scaling, and I don't really see a light at the end of the tunnel for the Holy Divers.
Gentleman Joby does not take damage, basically, right now. He just got fourth shot by Missing Link, and his Mountain Soul Shield did not break. So Missing Link, I would say, probably needs to put 10 or 15 clips into him to actually take him out. And at some point, you do have to kill the tank. I know it's not the best metric, but at some point, he has to go down. Here is the fight. Missing Link having to use that flash very early. Curtain Call has been used. Aliona taking up in the front line. Bullet time coming across this fight. There's just no stopping this coming through. Blast Pro in the back doing so much damage. A double kill now coming through for this team. There is 3 dead now for the Holy Divers. They're just running for the hills, but they're not even going to be able to make it. Missing Link goes down as well. It's a double kill for Aliona. It's a double kill for Blast Pro in this fight. Rare Candy has nothing to do but watch his Nexus get taken down. And Glacial Nebula, a very clean game number 1. They win the first game over the Holy Divers and go 1-0.
Yeah, and they're going to take that Nexus, and this was an interesting game. I really didn't feel like this one was won or lost in draft. There was a couple things maybe I would adjust about both teams, but these aren't bad teams, and these are very strong champions, especially considering, the champions I would say that are weakest in the map right now are like Pantheon, maybe Kassadin, and those are, or maybe J4 actually, I would say is weaker than Kassadin right now. And those are power picks for Holy Divers. Those are very good champions for them. They're super comfortable in those champions. So this was, or should have been, I guess, a very close game, and it just wasn't,
Yes, I watched it too. Not close. Everything went right, I think, for Glacial Nebula in this game. Gentleman Joby, I think, outperformed expectations in the top lane up against Spartan Might. In the mid lane, Diff just blew Rapcore out of the lane, essentially. The bot lane was kind of here, going both ways, neither here nor there on really who's winning in that one. You had double kills on both sides in response to ganks, but it just didn't really matter. Aliona got so far ahead of Stolen. The kills kind of went in Aliona's favor on those ganks versus Missing Link and Rare Candy's favor on Stolen's ganks. So Aliona just really became unstoppable in the jungle, had 3 items by the end of the game. And when Graves is that strong, it's just so hard to kill him, right? Because he has so many resistances. He heals a lot from the death stance. He has so much damage, and really can just take over the game. He took over the game objective-wise. I think all 7 major objectives Epic Monsters went over in favor of Eliuna and Glacial Nebula. So they just had complete macro control over the map, and it ended up with an 11,000 gold lead and a exploded Nexus.
Yeah, it certainly did. And I talked about some of the weaker picks being the Pantheon and the J4. I really feel like J4 was maybe the breakdown here. It might have been successful with a couple different tweaks, but I really feel like giving the rest of the comp, you need either more frontline or more support staff. And also, something I really hate about the J4 pick is Cataclysm. I mean, if you drop a Cataclysm anywhere near MF in a team fight, you're killing your team for them. It doesn't help you. You can drop the walls, but not before at least 4 waves of the bullet time have hit you. And that's what we saw in that last team fight. Cataclysm just got nailed onto some either frontline or Cinder or something, and Blastbro just pulled the trigger in bullet time, and it was over for the team fight. So I really feel like if you go for frontline, maybe Zach, something like that, you have a much better game here.
Yeah, I do agree with that. I think the Jarvan just didn't quite work out for Stolen in this game, and something to look for as they go back to the drawing board before game number 2. We are going to step away for just a few minutes as we get the second game ready for you guys, but we will be back in just a few minutes with game number 2 between Glacial Nebula and Holy Divers. Don't go away. number 2 between Glacial and Nebula and the Holy Divers here in the Piltover Group Style Esports Season 3. We are getting into game number 2 here very shortly. I am Jarl Carl alongside Axman87. How you looking forward to this next game?
I think just a few things have to change in the draft here for Holy Divers, and really, I wouldn't be against some changes for Glacial Nebula either. I feel like both comps were kind of iffy, and really it was just kind of mastery of the champions in the end that really won the day. Aliona's Graves was massive, 804 in game 1. I feel like that's something that the Holy Divers definitely have to look towards in the ban phase. Maybe taking that away. I feel like Graves is just a good meta ban anyway, and if you've just seen the enemy team have a monster game on it, it's practically pick ban, right? I mean, you can't leave that up unless you have a plan for it. I mean, it's not an uncounterable champion, not, super OP, so maybe they have a plan to deal with it, but if they don't, it's gonna be rough, right?
Yeah, for sure. You do have to, avoid getting swept away early game. We are into Champ Select now, so we'll see what they decide to change up here ban-wise and pick-wise, as the teams have also switched sides, we should announce. So the Holy Divers are now on the blue side, having first pick. Glacial Nebula now on the red side. So Misfortune could be a big early game, or first pick here. For Missing Link, we have seen him pop off on that pentakill we saw last week was especially exciting. So we'll see if that gets banned out, how much respect is given to that by Glacial Nebula. Ezreal and Vladimir so far taken off the block. And there's the Graves, the respect ban, not wanting that to be in the hands of Aliona once again. Apparently not first pick worthy for Stolen, as you could just leave it up and then pick it. But I would expect the Misfortune first pick. I think we've seen that a couple times before for Missing Link, and honestly, it's a pretty strong pick, especially because he's so good at it.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at the Misfortune first pick. I think it makes a lot of sense, so we'll probably be seeing that here. They might take their time on that one, so I'm not going to wait on or anything, but I feel like that would probably make a lot of sense. Not sure what they're going to pair with the Misfortune. We've seen Nautilus before from Rare Candy, I believe. We've seen a couple other things as well, but I feel like the Nami from game 1 was actually super good, so maybe Rare Candy decides to take that away this time. They are going to take the Nautilus first pick, actually. We'll see if we get the Misfortune traded back from Joby. I definitely don't think they're going to pick Teemo. I would challenge them to. I don't think you can, but
seems pretty unlikely, Axe. I think you just go, honestly, they could just pick Misfortune here.
I would definitely pick Misfortune.
I don't know why you wouldn't. Leona coming through, we could just see Misfortune Leona. That's a very, very strong lane, good against the Nautilus as well. Leona is a little bit more tanky, so we'll see what this pick is, but I don't think it was going to be Morgana either. That seems pretty unlikely. I think we're just getting trolled here.
We're getting trolled. We're getting trolled by Nebula.
Yeah, really trying to troll us here. Hibernate, okay, yep. Get them all out. What else is in his lexicon here? We got Teemo coming through. What are you going to pick now?
Show us Singed.
Do it.
We're Singed.
It's got to be Misfortune, right? I mean.
Yeah, no. Anything else I feel like is trolling. Ashe. Okay, Ashe comes through.
I don't think that's trolling. I think Ashe is pretty good.
I don't know. I'm still on the trolling bandwagon. Solo lane and bans again coming through from Glacial Nebula, kind of showing that they're more afraid of Spartan Might and Rapcore than anybody else from Holy Divers. That makes sense to me. We saw Spartan Might come through on Pantheon and was answered with Joby's Maokai, kind of just a champion that wants to just put a whole kibosh on that whole snowballing thing. And it worked. It worked in a big way. And Rapcore, I mean, had an okay game, but I feel like just didn't have as much success on Gaston as they needed to. There was a lot of ganks coming from that Graves. That wasn't helping. Cinder was bullying Cassidy in the early game. That didn't help either. But so I definitely think the Glacial Nebula are looking to try and get good, solid counter picks on these solo lanes. And we're seeing Cassidy hovered here. I'm not sure if you pick a mid laner here. I feel like you pick a jungler and try to get counter picks. There's many counter picks as you can in the solo lanes. Actually, Cinder coming through, which I feel like is a lot safer blind pick. Maybe not the safest, though, so they might get counter picked here. We'll have to see.
Definitely could. Cinder very, very strong, and they're kind of following exactly the same order that they did last game. We saw them pick up their bot lane and their mid lane in the first round in the last game, and it definitely worked out for them. So maybe trying to just have some success on the repetition coming through here. A little bit of an adaptation already. Stolen going for the Zac this game. We said we wanted to see more engaged tank, and that delivers on both counts very strongly. Tank meta in full force so far on the Holy Divers team. So I think they've definitely made improvements on their comp from last game. We'll see if it works out enough for him here, as we're seeing some more top lane bans coming through, which makes sense. No top laners have been picked up yet.
Yeah, you would assume anyway. By the way, no misfortune. Zion picked up by missing a link here, so we're not going to see that against all. It wasn't banned, was it? Am I just missing it?
No.
No. I guess it's just not coming through on either side. Bizarre to me. I would say, especially given the tanks coming through for Holy Divers. I mean, you have a big team fight ultimate. I feel like that helps you out with tanks, but Featherstorm probably okay too. So but Olaf coming through, that's exciting for Aliona. Hopefully she makes good use of this pick. Obviously it's very powerful, but if you can't play a champion, you can't play a champion.
Olaf's not
Lissandra,
that axe, man.
yeah, you gotta land those axes sometimes, but Lissandra comes through here. Not sure about this pick. I mean, unless you're expecting some kind of tomfoolery with like a Syndra flex in the bot lane and an Ashe top, the Lissandra doesn't really make sense to me. I feel like Lissandra you pick into assassins, and otherwise you just don't play Lissandra because she's not great. So I'm not really 100% on this matchup with Syndra.
Especially picking it straight away after Olaf was picked.
Yeah. Also,
Olaf can just run right through everything she has and can just cleanse her ult with his ult. So I'm a little confused as to why the Lissandra has come through. I like the Ornn pick quite a lot. We'll see what Gentleman Joby has to match it. The Akali would be spicy, and it's been locked in. That's going to be a spicy lane. I have to feel Scoville levels, through the roof on this situation up in the top lane. There's a lot of tanks, I'm noticing, for the Holy Divers coming. Almost like 3.5 tanks if you count Lissandra as half a tank in ultimate. But
do.
Maybe not enough damage.
Yeah, no, would be exactly my problem with this team comp, is there's not enough damage. Even if you consider Lissandra a competent damage source, I just don't. But that's only two damage dealers, one for each damage type. I don't think it's enough. You do have a couple things going for it. Zaya's going to scale super hard. You have Ornn items coming through as well. So if Missing Link gets super ahead, it is going to be incredibly difficult to kill this Zaya. Now, they have to get to that position, though, and I'm skeptical. You have Olaf, which to me means you win the early game unless you have like a 5-page essay explaining to me why you win. I feel like Olaf just wins, and they're going to be able to get pressure in the bot lane and roll that into Dragon Souls, and snowball this game into a victory with like a Syndra mid to late game damage piling on top of all of that. And not to mention, up in the top lane, we've completely seen a flipped script up here. Now it's Gentleman Joby who has this high damage champion that wants to make things happen, slamming into the brick wall that is Ornn. We'll see if Joby can break this open, but it's almost like whereas Spartan Might was in a position where they had to break that wall open or else his team was in a pretty big trouble, Joby is not. Joby does not have to win this lane to win this game. They could just kind of go even and be an assassin for the rest of the game if they want to. It's not really going to change much. What is rough for Nebula, though, is they don't have a huge front line. That's probably pretty bad for them, but like we said, Holy Divers, there's not a lot of damage, so it's not like the front line would have helped you all that much anyway.
Absolutely, and I think also Akali against Ornn, it's more likely that Akali will have success than the Pantheon against the Maokai.
Yeah.
We saw last game. Maokai, the Pantheon has one damage source, he has burst damage, and he doesn't, and he had electrocute. So he had no sustain. He'd kind of just go in, the Maokai would say, "What are you doing? I'm going to hit you and heal all the damage back and then push you away and walk off." And then they just repeated that the entire game. And that was the whole top lane. Whereas in this lane, Gentleman Joby can try to, kite around the Ornn, go for the Qs from the Shroud, maybe dash in and out on him. And Ornn doesn't have as much of a way to heal up like Maokai does. And it's a little bit less easy to just disengage right away. So I think there's hope for Gentleman Joby in this lane. I still wouldn't expect a ton of solo kills, but I would expect this to be a prepared pick against Ornn. They saved it for last pick. They kind of left the Ornn up, so I think we might see something cool from Gentleman Joby up in the top lane, but I wouldn't completely hold my breath for it.
Yeah, definitely. One thing, about the Holy Divers comp that they really have going in their favor is engage. So much engage. And Zac, Ornn, Nautilus, this crazy engage tools. I think it's called Death Claw from Lissandra. or Grasp of Death or something, that E ability. That's another engage tool that they can use. You also have lots of disengage too, right? I mean, these are tanks. Tanks are just inherently made of disengage. You also have Lissandra and Xayah, who are two carries, I'm gonna say with quotes for Lissandra, that can disengage like very quickly and barely in a big way too. I mean, it's not like Twitch who's trying to run away with some invisibility or something. Like Xayah is gone as soon as they press R, right? Lissandra's gone as soon as they reactivate that claw ability, and you're not getting to them. No matter how much CC you're avoiding it with Ragnarok, or how big the range is on your Leona ult, you're just not getting at those carries anymore. So if there's a problem with target access, it's going to be for Glacial Nebula, I would say.
Glacial Path is the name of the E ability, or as I like to say, Claw of Doom.
Glacial Path.
I don't know why I call it Claw of Doom, but that's just
that's what it should be called.
That's what it's called in my brain. Claw of Doom, Glacial Tomb, which I don't think is actually what the ultimate's called either. I think it's called Frozen Tomb, but in my head it's Claw of Doom, Glacial Tomb. They rhyme, they sound cool. It's not what any of them are called, but I don't care. So we'll see how well Rapcore can pilot this Lissandra in the mid lane in this game. And I do like that point about the Xayah with the Feather Storm. Like, it doesn't matter what you got. She's just going. You press the R button, she is, up in the air for it's only a couple of seconds. So that part is less cool. For
that's all the tanks need, man.
Yeah, but if you can, get up in the air, dodge a few key skill shots, and extricate yourself from the situation, you should be good to go. So I think Missing Link will be able to keep himself safe, unless he just gets kind of one shot and CC'd. If he's able to get stunned and then not ult before he dies, then there's not a whole lot he can do, right? So, when do you use that ult? Are you ulting the first Leona ult? Are you ulting the Syndra stun? Are you ulting the Nkali engage? Like, I think he has to be careful when to use that ability, especially because it has been nerfed somewhat recently. It's a very long cooldown, especially in the early game. So look for them to Glacial Nebula to punish when that ultimate is down.
Yeah, and I have a little criticism for the Akali pick here. The Akali pick came through after Lissandra, right?
Yes.
So I feel like by picking Akali, while this might be a good lane for you, and Joby could be, just a fantastic Akali, and that would validate the Akali pick. I feel like by picking Akali, you validated the Lissandra pick a little bit, where maybe you didn't have to. Because now Lissandra has gone from, for me, a weird counter to Syndra that probably loses lane and it doesn't do this very well this game, to like a very good pick to protect Xayah late game. Now that there are assassins in this game on the Glacial Nebula. So I feel like you don't pick an assassin here because you almost validate the Lissandra pick. You could have picked something with as much backline access, but not as much weakness to Lissandra ult, something that doesn't get blown up instantly. So I'm talking about a bruiser essentially. And played that in top lane. Maybe Silas, something like that with a little bit more survivability. But essentially Rapcore went from being like, well, I had this weird Syndra lane to deal with, to now I can press R on Joby all the game, and that will be enough for me. That's my purpose for being in this game. So yeah, I don't know, in so much as these late game team fights, if the Akali pick was worth it. You
do have to be able to click on Gentleman Joby, though. And if he's in the Shroud weaving it actually can be quite hard to get the whole cast time off when he's dodging back and forth. So this Akali certainly can kill Missing Link before Rapcore really has a chance to ult. And so that's also something to watch out for. That being said, the Ring of Frost, the W, is a lot more AoE, and it's not point and click. It's just, just goes around Rapcore. So could use that to try to find Gentleman Joby in the Shroud. So we'll see how that, goes down. But I do agree. I think Rapcore has a little bit more validation for being in this game on Lissandra right now than he did before that Akali got picked up. I think a Silas or something like an Irelia or Fiora maybe could have just had a little bit more effect in this game, just because they would have the same idea in lane up against the Ornn, but wouldn't have that need to be, straight into the backline where they can get ulted by Rapcore, or maybe could go for a little bit more of a split push, or just kind of dancing around in fights, and not as squishy as this Akali is. And Irelia, maybe you alter with that Frozen Tomb, but is she really going to die in the 2 seconds that she's stunned?
Yeah, and one thing I want to talk about is that Glacial Nebula, when we're not holding it to the candle of like Lissandra or even any of the tanks, the comp, basically, what they need to do this game is kill Xayah. That's their objective, their win condition. If they don't snowball in the early game and just win at 20 minutes. If they don't snowball in the early game and win at 20 minutes, their job is to kill Xayah, and they have so many tools to do that with Carl, like just so many. Enchanted Crystal Arrow, Solar Flare, Unleash Power is a massive single target spell. If they just have to kill Zaya to win this game, this is the team that can do it, right? Target access from OWASP is going to be huge here. We already talked about the Ragnarok. So, yeah, I really liking Glacial Nebula here. I feel like they have a huge advantage as far as team comps go.
I would hazard to say that every member of Glacial Nebula can probably solo the Zaya. Except for Adriana. I'm not gonna, like, honestly, like, Diff just one-shots her. Aliuna just runs at her with Ragnarok and waits for the ult to come out. Gentleman Joby one-shots her, and Blast Pro, you know, has a more than even chance with that Enchanted Crystal Arrow to come through. As we see Blast Pro getting hooked in the bot lane. Ignite goes down, but Blast Pro going to be just fine. Only that one summoner used, but a lot of health taken away from the AD carry of Glacial Nebula.
So I would expect, since we're going for pick potential from this comp here, for Blast Pro to go for like a CDR build for this Ashe, maybe go for Triforce, and just go for that full CDR. When you get into that late game when Zaya's hitting all those power spikes, your ult can be on a 40-second cooldown, which is very scary if you're the ADC. So I'm definitely expecting the CDR build here. Of course, there's like other builds for Ashe, so maybe she just goes crit or something. But if we're really leaning into pick potential, I feel like you go for CDR. And, you know, I've liked it the times I've seen it, so I think it's pretty solid. We'll see what they go for. For the time being, Holy Diver's kind of zoning the Glacial Nebula bot lane out of the lane for the time being. I feel like that's a little strange almost. I mean, they are down a level, so that makes sense to me why they would be playing back a little bit. But other than that, I feel like they have the advantage early, so I'm not really sure what's going on here.
All about that level. Being level 3 to 2 is almost as bad as being 1 to 2. It's just it's really hard to get anything done if you are down that level, and it's just not worth it to fight, especially with Blast Pro being so low. So I think for now they're just gonna have to take a reset under that turret, farm it up a little bit, and then kind of I would say probably wait until Blast Pro actually resets, goes back to base before they really are able to pressure up in this lane. The low health Ashe it's too easy to get flash autoed by Rare Candy, Flash Dredgeline, whatever, and then Blast Pro can just go down in an instant. So I think a little bit of caution is warranted here by this bot lane. They're not falling that far behind in farm. Ashe has pretty high base range, second only to the Caitlyn. So I think they're going to be okay in the bot lane as Aliuna has arrived to just kind of say hello.
Yeah, and that is an issue with the Ashe pick as well, and they had to pick Ashe before Missing Link picked up their ADC, so this isn't something that they would have been privy to or anything, but this is also a scaling lane too, right? Ashe scales on the late game. It's not like this is a super early game marksman or anything like that, so they definitely have to play back as well. This isn't a case of like a Lucian or something like that where the objective is to go in and kill Missing Link early. They probably can't do that, so they also have to play this safe, wait till the late game, which means this bot lane, barring jungle interference, is going to be pretty slow, I would imagine, unless there's just a big CS lead gained by one side. Oh god, I thought Stolen was on Glacial Nebula for a second there. I thought Missing Link was doomed, but no, they're going to be fine. And Stolen goes in.
Blast Pro flashing basically in place. Not sure what happened there, but first blood going in favor of Stolen on the Zac in the top lane. Perfect execution. Gentleman Joby picking up the kill.
No way.
Might.
That's rough. That is real rough. I'll say, I think the Callus of Eons might be a little bit greedy here. I feel like you don't pick up that mana. You go for something a little bit more, with more oomph in it. Maybe like an MR or something like that, a Magic Mantle. But, yeah, I guess Ornn goes down early to Sakali. It's pretty nuts. It's going to be a fight here. Rare
Candy going down straight away. Dift has picked up that kill. Teleports, multiple teleports coming through for Spartan Might and Rapport around this dragon. Stolen is very low. There's a Sky of the Week with another double stun. Blast Pro has arrived with some boots from the base. Spartan Might having to back themselves away. No flash. Call the Forge going to come through. Teleport coming in from Gentleman Joby. No ultimate available. Edrina has been taken out of this fight. This is a 4 versus 4 at this point. Aliuna has gone down as well, but they do pick up the kill onto Spartan Might. We're back to a 3 versus 3. There's a Sky of the Week from Diff. Going to be getting a lot done on this one. Rapport has gone down. Missing going to be following there shortly. Stolen trying to get themselves out with the elastic slingshot. Can they get away from this team? The flash has been expended as well. Volley not quite going to take him out. The sweeper comes through. Can the ward see him? One more auto attack should do it. He is going to go into the passive. We'll see who the kill goes over to. I would like to see it given to the Ashe, but Gentleman Joby going to kill himself actually under the tower. Very unlucky with that E, just trying to get the kill. He's going to get shut down by Rare Candy and the Ignite.
What am I watching, Carl? My goodness. Oh man, okay, alright, yeah, I like how you said that they killed themselves. That's unfortunate. Rare Candy was right there, too, to pick that one up, but otherwise it would have just been a fast reset, which would have been cool, but yeah, I guess Rare Candy gets a freebie out of that one at the end of the day. I gotta say, this is down to Aliona and just kind of jungle pathing. If you're Olaf, you got to be first to that first dragon. It's just so easy to take when you have those power spikes in those first couple levels that Olaf does. Blast Bro is going to be going down here.
Going very low. That's the dangers of the low ash. What a great shot from Rare Candy, landing that dredge line, flashing the mastery as well. Adriana trying to get themselves out. Has flash going to be expended. She should be okay. Depth charge has been unlocked now for Rare Candy, hitting that level 6, but kind of a disaster there in the bot lane for Glacial Nebula.
Yeah, and you wouldn't know it to watch him play Nautilus, but Mastery 7, hits the hook there, even as I'm flaming their Nautilus. That's unfortunate, everybody. Rare Candy is going to survive the dive as well, and they don't call them the Holy Divers for nothing, folks. That's the level 6 dive there that we were all looking forward to, and here is the gank mid lane.
Dift flashing away. Rapcore going to not continue that play up as Eliona has arrived on the scene. Dift walking in very aggressive. Maybe wants to go for this fight, but he could get the script flipped on him. Looks like not going to happen. Going to be just fine. Eliona arriving in just the nick of time.
Yeah, and I kind of understand the aggression from Dift there. I feel like if I'm Dift, there's no way I lose this lane in my mind. So when I'm getting ganked, I'm already thinking of like, can I 1v2? And when my jungler shows up, I'm like, okay, now I'm not stopping until they're dead. But it just didn't seem like Aliona really wanted to commit to that, which makes sense. I mean, if you don't have the upper hand in a gank, it can be very difficult for an Olaf to pull off a gank like that, just running at you essentially. So yeah, unfortunate the positioning there coming through that just wasn't able to make anything happen. Now it could be Aliona looking for Rift Herald. Yeah, it is going to be actually Dift and Joby are in the area, but this could be a fight over Rift Herald. Stolen kind of knows what's going on, but he doesn't have direct vision over the bid.
Everybody kind of just feeling each other out here, going for a potential Herald dance as Dift walking in very aggressively. Could find themselves getting jumped on, but it looks like the blue buff is the thing in contention. Going to be smited away. Actually, the smite did not come down. I'm not sure what I was seeing, but Diff going to be able to pick that up, but they might pay for it with their life. Getting knocked out by the call of the Forge. Gentleman Joby has arrived on the scene. Diff trying to get themselves out very low. Going to be going down to Rapcore. That's a shutdown coming through, but Gentleman Joby is doing so much work in this fight, chasing down Spartan Might in the bot lane. They are just going toe-to-toe. Ultimates have been used that were unlocked. Missing Link very low. One more auto attack should do it. He's going to be going down. Oh, the Zenith Blade under the tower. Not quite what Azrina was looking for. She's going to be going down as well. A 1-for-1 in the bot lane. Up back in the top lane still. Gentleman Joby getting focused down. He's going to be taken out of this fight. Aliona is here though. Stolen going pretty low. Ooh, the axe goes quite wide on that one. Teleport coming in. Diff has finally arrived. He died and comes back to the fight. That's how long this fight is, folks. Unleashed power going down on that one, picking up the kill. Spartan Might now running themselves away from this situation. A nice ward in the bush, though, going to give Diff the vision. He's looking for that scout of the week. Should be up in just a couple of seconds. Throws in the orb. Where is that stun coming through? There it is. Hitting onto Spartan Might. He's not going to be able to escape from this one. One more Q will take him out. He goes down. It's a shutdown. The counter shutdown coming through. Diff saying, give me my blue buff back. And he picks it up.
Yeah, for Diff, this is exactly where you want to be with Syndra, is killing people on cooldown with Unleashed Power, and that's what they're doing. So they're in a very strong position at the moment. 4-1-3 is the scoreline, tons of gold, and there's not really anything Rapcore can do to answer it. Rapcore isn't like stressing about the gold too much. They're only like 500 behind, which isn't really insane or anything. I would expect that kind of gold differential in this matchup, but Rapcore needs to like find some kind of way, or maybe Holy Divers do, to just stop Diff from killing people with Unleashed Power and cooldown. Like if this keeps going, Diff is just going to steamroll this into a win, and it's not going to matter about this late game win condition with missing link or anything like that.
Diff could be in a spot of bother at this point, having to walk themselves up. Might be able to get the one shot onto Missing Link. Heal goes down. Could this be the CC chain we were looking for? Missing Link going to be taken down. No Featherstorm was available. Now it's Adrina trying to buy a little bit more time with that crowd control thing. Blast Pro with the shots coming in from the back, but it's just not going to be enough to take out the team. Does not have enough damage thus far in the game. Has flash to get away from the dredge line. I think he should live from this. Has to use the flash though. Dredge line going to come through. Hits the tower, but does not actually hit Blast Pro. The arrow into the tower. Enchanted Crystal arrow at that. Rare Candy going very low. He is going to be taken out. There's the ult, or the slingshot under the tower. Blast Pro.
Oh my!
Stolen very low. Almost going down in the
Holy
top. Joby has picked up the one kill up against Spartan Might going down once again. Blast Pro very low though. Rapcore going in. Does he have the mana for one more ability? The auto attacks coming through from Blast Pro. I'm not sure you want to fight this. He's come back up in the passive. Stolen goes in with the stretching strike. Picks up the kill on the Blast Pro. What a crazy fight.
Yeah, definitely. I really thought Blast Pro could flip that fight on its head, but at the end of the day, Stolen's got passive, man, and that's just how that fight went. Joby could be getting turret here. Think they're going to back off, though. Vie for a little bit more safety than aggression. Probably okay there, but oh, Diff going down.
Yeah, in the jungle, didn't have the Unleashed power in range, I don't think, on Missing Link, so wasn't able to use that. Was taking out teleport in the backline. Gentleman Joby has arrived on the scene. There's a Claw of Doom going in. Rapcore teleports are just coming in from left, right, and center on this one. Joby trying to go back in onto Missing Link. No, Featherstorm is not available, so Gentleman Joby able to pick up that 1 kill. He's now 1 versus 4 though, so this is not probably quite what he was envisioning when he teleported in. Depth charge coming through, actually picking up a 2nd kill. Wait, he's doing so much damage, Axeman. Okay, not gonna get the 1v4 coming through. It looked scary for a second, but it does work out in favor of Holy Divers. They just have more teleports on the scene, and they have more people. They get the kills.
Yeah, and to be honest, that's all Glacial Nebula needs to do to have success in this game. And Joby just did it by himself. Get in the backline, kill Rapcore and Missing Link. That's it. If they just keep doing this, late game, Holy Divers won't have any damage, and they'll just lose outright. And that's, not a great place to be. Now, what is concerning for me, if you're a Glacial Nebula fan here, is that at this point, Holy Divers have all the dragons, which is not good if you're talking about, Holy Divers being a late game team. Them having all the dragons is not great, because normally I would expect a team with an Olaf on it to have more pressure on the dragons. They just haven't had it. I mean, Aliona just hasn't been in the area. When that dragon's coming up in any kind of reasonable capacity, they haven't had the vision control over the area. Obviously, bot prio has been difficult to get for them, but I really feel like between Diff and Aliona, they should have had a lot more pressure on this dragon pit. They just didn't have it.
Being down 2-0 on Dragons with a late game comp is a definite downer, I think we could say, pretty definitively there for Glacial Nebula. But they only have given up 2 of them so far, so it's not like the Holy Divers are on soul point. Still going to be 9 minutes minimum before that soul does come through for them. So a lot of chances here for Glacial Nebula to kind of fight back in this game. As looking down the item sheet here, Blade of the Ruin King has been completed now for Blast Pro. So they have a lot of damage for themselves. Up in the top lane, Spartan Might taking a lot of damage. Perfect execution. Number 1 comes through. What a great dodge with the E. Gentleman Joby showing why he picked this champion. He has got some serious chops on the Akali, and he's definitely just flexing on Spartan Might up in the top lane.
Yeah, I gotta say, now comes the Negatron Cloak. Too little too late, Spartan Might. This guy's one-shotting you with his assassin. Yeah, I needed that magic resist earlier, right? The Catalyst, the Eons, even the Boots of Swiftness, I feel, is like super strange to build that in Akali, but...
Rapcore blown up in the mid lane, in the bot lane. Blastcore trying to get themselves away. Ultimates have been used by most members. Featherstorm is still available. Rare Candy getting it re-engaged on now. Blast Pro doing so much damage. The Blade of the Ruin King shooting through, but has to back off to get away from the feathers of Missing Link. Don't want to get the Blade Caller into a nice stun, and Stolen's in the area as well. So a nice trade for the bot lane, but most ultimates have gone down as it looks like the fighting has concluded.
Yeah, and I don't think Stolen actually showed up on vision there towards the end. He got pretty close to the ward. I don't think he was in range of it, so I'm pretty sure Blast Pro and Adrena either didn't see him or like maybe they just didn't look at the map because now Stolen's got the gank.
Kali is in the area though. Gentleman Joby arriving on the scene. No perfect execution, and Adrena has been taken out. Aliona and Gentleman Joby now on the scene. 3 versus 2. How will they play this? Stolen no pass.
This could be triple.
Available for Missing Link. This could be a very interesting fight. 3 versus 2, but definitely the stronger champions. Gentleman Joby going to be going in with the perfect execution. Goes into the Twilight Shroud. Missing Link has to use the Featherstorm to try to get himself away. A nice Blade Caller as well. Gentleman Joby not able to get the second use of that ultimate off. Missing Link going to go down to this Olaf. He has Triumph as well. Can he heal himself up? Does he get the No, he does not. Stolen on a rampage, picking up that 1 kill. Missing Link did fall, but in the end, so did Gentleman Joby and Aliona.
Yeah, and it almost seemed like Aliona would be able to make the comeback there, but not at the end of the day. I guess maybe didn't have W up or had used it earlier or something like that because it didn't seem like they were healing too much. But yeah, I think again, you killed Missing Link. That's all you had to do, right? At the end of the day, if you're an assassin and you get killed by the enemy front line after destroying their back line, you did your job. That's it. So, yeah, I feel once again Glacial Nebula coming out on top. We'll take a look at the gold. It is in favor of Holy Divers right now, but we'll take a look. And most of the gold here right now is stacked onto Stolen. Not sure how helpful that's going to be for them. There is still quite a bit stacked onto Missing Link, and that's great. That's what they want. But I feel like if I'm looking at the lion's share of the gold, I don't need that to be on our tank jungler. It's great we have the gold, but Zach isn't going to be helping us as much in the late game team fights as Zaya would have. So despite the gold lead, I feel like it's not really working out for Holy Divers as much as it would, a different comp.
There's also 2,000 gold of the advantage. We're going to have to hold that thought as Dift is getting ganked once again in the mid lane. Frozen to him has done it. Elion is in the area, though. We might see the one-shot come through onto Rapcore. He's going to be taken out straight away. Unleashed Power was enough to trade that kill back. Gentleman Joby's arrived on the scene. All Elion needs to do is survive. Stolen now running for his life as he sees the Akali coming into that fight back down to the bot lane. There's the Solar Flare coming through. Gonna be the knock-up as well. Rare Candy, the ultimate. Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes through. A couple more auto decks should do it. Missing Link now. Oh, what a great Blade Caller coming through. Blast Pro taken out. Wasn't able to pick up the kill onto Rare Candy as this Xayah is quite strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Stolen getting away too. Was able to get away from Gentleman Joby in the mid lane. Got a good elastic slingshot. I think completely over the river, over both walls. I'm not sure if that's what happened, but it seemed to be what happened. And yeah, Joby was just kind of like, well, I can't get over there. Oh, E onto Rapcore, could be, yeah, goes back in on it.
Just going for, oh, there's no ultimate available. It's just a couple of seconds. Will he have time? No, he will not. Gentleman Joby getting himself out with the second activation of that ultimate. Perfect execution, and that was pretty close to perfect activation. He's going to be teleporting himself out. I think he's out, and he does escape.
Gone.
Very well played by the Skelly.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Rapcore burns the teleport, right? Allows Gentleman Joby to nail that E onto him, get the hyper engage. Also, oh, here we go. Stolen is going to be looking for this third dragon. This is important.
Eliona is in the area, has flash, does not have Ragnarok to get into the pit. We might still see them go for the steal. The burst comes down. That's enough, but we might now see the fight come through. There's the engage from Stolen onto the backline, onto Blast Pro, but Dift is in the backline, onto Missing Link. Can Missing Link outplay this fight? Unleashed Power has come down. Missing Link very low, a couple more shots could kill a few. Blast Pro gonna be picking that one up. This fight going in the favor of Glacial Nebula, at least thus far. It's a 4 versus 2 at the end of this one. Spartan Might and Stolen, the only members left alive, but they are gonna go down. Zach gonna lose his passive as well. Rapcore just a spectator to this fight. They lose the dragon, but Glacial Nebula picks up the fight win.
Yeah, so once again, dragon picked up by the Holy Divers, but, the fight eventually won by Glacial Nebula. So it's difficult to say who's winning the game right now, because most conventional wisdom would say that it's the Holy Divers. They have the gold lead. They have more dragons, too. 3 more dragons, so that's, like, so many stats in gold value that they have as well. So all of that, for me, kind of combines into Holy Divers are winning this game right now. And then they lose the team fight, Carl. And then they lose, like, 3 team fights in a row, which makes me think, are they winning? I don't know. Are they just having, like, positioning issues? Are they not getting the damage on the enemy members they need to? Maybe a combination of a bunch of things. But either way, they haven't won a team fight in quite a while now. Or at least a meaningful one. Every time they win a skirmish or something like that, all their carries are dead. So it's kind of like, what did you really win? What did you really accomplish? So yeah, I guess I'll put it to you. Who do you think is winning right now?
I think you still have to say the Holy Divers. I think just because of the dragons. I think the Mountain Soul is so strong on this team. They have so many tanks that if they're able to get that Mountain Soul, I think they'll be able to close out this game. However, I don't know if they can win without it. At this point, the Olaf is still very strong. Dift is really strong. The mid-game power spikes are coming through for these champions on Glacial Nebula, and by the time this next dragon comes up, we're going to see the second item come through for Blast Pro and Dift, right? That Leandri's Torment's going to come through. The Rune's Hurricane is going to be down as well. So it should be 2 items on all the members of Glacial Nebula, and I think that might be the point where they can start winning these fights more decisively. So I think if that dragon does not go over to the Holy Divers, they're going to really have to look at some other way to get back in this game. Maybe an Elder Dragon, maybe a Baron steal at some point. Elder Dragon actually would be so far away because you'd have to give up the 4 other dragons to Glacial Nebula. I think maybe steal a Baron, get a pick before you win a team fight, but I think 5v5ing at that point might be just kind of doomed.
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're Glacial Nebula, you're pretty much like consigned to the fact that the Holy Divers are getting Dragon Soul. It's really just a matter of when at this point. I think it's a pretty distant possibility that they pick up all 4 dragons to get the soul themselves. Okay, here's the fight in mid lane.
Fight in the mid lane. Gentleman Joby gonna get stunned up, but in the Twilight Shroud, he is just fine for now. Dift very low. Missing Link firing onto him, but he's so low. Enchanted Crystal Arrow could be the kill. He is stunned up. One more Q is going to pick up the kill. Not able to use the feathers from Gentleman Joby in the backline. Able to get himself out with the perfect execution, and here is the Ragnarok coming through. Aliona trying to go in. Rapcore with a nice stop punch to buy a little bit of time, but it's not going to be enough. Rare Candy gonna fall on this one. Blastro has picked up the kill. It is 4 for 1 in this fight. Dift finally falling at the end, but this should be barren for Glacial Nebula.
Yeah, and I think they'll probably be able to take Baron. It's going to be fairly slow, though, and Stolen is still alive, so this could be a 50-50 smite exchange. Actually, it's going down really quickly. I guess I underestimated the damage from Jovi, but now it's going to be Jovi and Stolen. This is not going to go well.
Not going to go well for Stolen, indeed. Arrows being fired into his back. He's going to be going down. And yeah, Blast Pro has so much damage on the Baron. A Bork user plus Ash takes the Baron down so quickly. That's going to be going in favor of Glacial Nebula. And the tables have turned now. I think they are now fully in control of this game.
Absolutely. A blazing fast 23-minute Baron is going to put them with the Baron buff. They're also going to be moving towards the Dragon as well. Dragon coming up in just a little bit over a minute. So they're going to want to be setting up a perimeter, setting up an area around this with the vision control, because you can't afford to give this up, right? You already talked about the tanks. If they get Mountain Soul, it's going to be, hell on earth for Glacial Nebula. They can't let that happen. So establishing early map control is crucial here. Blast Pro in the bot lane on a Spartan Might.
Spartan Might maybe can teleport out. No, he has no chance to get out of this fight. You have to think, actually, nice flash away from that. But Gentleman Joby up in the jungle. Missing Link could be in so much trouble here. Gentleman Joby says, hello, remember me. He's not going to have a lot of time to remember him because Missing Link is already in the Death Chamber. Rare Candy going to be following very soon. Perfect Execution number 2 should be coming through. There's an IC. Goes across. That's a double kill now for Gentleman Joby. Just ripping through this game. 18 stacks on the Magi's. Soul Stealer, 12 and 4 and 9. This guy is quite a beast.
Yeah, absolutely massive, and losing Missing Link and also Rare Candy basically means Holy Divers can't make a Dragon play, so it's not as crucial that they get it right now. It looks like they're going to try to take it on spawn, but, they don't really have to. It's really just Stolen, maybe looking to take it, but he's on vision here, and Jovi's just going to kill him, I think.
Getting walked at by the Akali. That Dragon has gone over in favor of Glacial Nebula. They pick up their first of the game, denying that soul for another 5 minutes, and I think they will probably only need to defend against one more Dragon Soul if they are able to keep winning these team fights. They should only need about 5 or 6 more minutes to kind of end this game. They're very far ahead. They're winning every team fight. Gentleman Joby getting so much done. Eliuda saying hello to Stolen, spotting him out. A nice ward by them. This tower is going to be going. Might see the slingshot, though. Come through. There it is. It's just onto Adruina. Gonna get knocked back with the Scatter the Weak as Olaf in the backline doing so much damage against Missing Link. He has to get himself out. Blast Pro now untouched in this fight. Stolen going down very low. Almost picked up the kill on a diff, but he goes into the passive. That's not going to be enough. Gentleman Joey's arrived on the scene as well. Flashing into the backline. Picks up the 1 kill onto Missing Link. He has gone down into the Twilight Shroud. A nice E onto Spartan Mine. And Cheddar Crystal Arrow as well. Going to get the stun down. That's a 3.5 second stun, but they're not going to be able to capitalize on it. 3-for-0 in this fight as Glacial Nebula is just on the warpath down this mid lane X-Men.
Yeah, that Baron buff is allowing them to push much harder than they normally would be able to. And, the AD coming through from Aliona is helping as well.
Might try to see a base defense here. Aliona has gone down, but Gentleman Joby just ripping through the team once again. Rare Candy not long for Summoner's Rift. A couple more Qs should do it under this tower. Rare Candy going to be going down. That's a double kill. It's just Rapcore left on the map. I'm a little surprised to see Glacial Nebula back off, but they will go back to base, reset, and try to get one more push in after they get some purchases.
I would imagine, yeah, they just have a lot of gold in hand. Yeah, all of them have over 1,000 gold. Some of them are getting short on resources like mana. I know Dift also just doesn't have a lot of health. So, it's not like it's going to hurt them a whole lot to back here. I feel like, oh, there we go. This could be something.
It might hurt Adruina. And she's going to be going down. Missing Link has picked up the kill. I don't think that'll be very consequential, really, in the grand scheme of things. But it is a little bit unfortunate for your support to get picked off in the jungle.
Yeah, absolutely. So at this point, I feel like Missing Link is definitely going down here. This is going to be real bad.
Featherstorm is available, but I'm not sure how much it's going to matter. We might see the Twilight Shroud come through. Might not even get Perfect Execution comes through. Perfect Execution number 2 should pick up the kill if he decides to go back in for it. Actually, it's not up. Didn't see what happened to it, but that's the shutdown going in favor of Stolen, and not quite what Gentleman Joby was looking for, losing those Magnet decks.
Yeah, and that's going to illustrate exactly the point I was about to make, is that right now Holy Divers is focusing a lot of their tank abilities, that disruption abilities, on engage. Things like the Orin Horn and Elastic Slingshot are being used to try and kill Dift and Blast Pro. You can't be doing that. You have to use your abilities to peel for Missing Link. We just watched Aliona chase Missing Link halfway through the jungle, and the rest of Holy Divers didn't bat an eye. This is not how you execute this team comp. You have to protect the ADC.
Protecting the ADC, always very important. 3 items now on Missing Link, so if there's ever a point in the game where he can carry, it probably is now. Should have that Molten Edge upgrade and 1 more level there on Spartan Might, and that will do a lot of work for him, giving him so much more damage if he's able to get that through, but he's just so vulnerable. You know, Gentleman Joby almost took him down in a 1 versus 3. We're going to see them try once more. Teleport is coming in far in the back line. That's a very deep flank from Gentleman Joby. No Featherstorm available for Missing Link. There is no ultimate, but perfect execution is up. Gentleman Joby trying to get the backline access to come through. A nice E gonna get himself onto Stolen, gonna have to back away, but nothing was used there by Gentleman Joby, just the E and the Shroud. So Ashe ult was used, but that cooldown is basically non-existent at this point. They can just rinse and repeat, try to find a pick yet another time.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think we ever mentioned actually Blast Pro not necessarily going for the cooldown build, more on hit really, more of a standard Ashe build. Now they're building a little bit more crit too, so really more standard. So that cooldown isn't going to be as low as normal. It's still going to be fairly low. I don't think Enchanted Crystal Arrow has a high cooldown to begin with, but
nope.
I think they have a bit of cooldown reduction in their kit. Or in their items, excuse me.
Yeah, they have the
real quick.
Reverse,
yeah, 20%. So, I feel like that's probably enough. So, they're probably fine with just that. And, they have so many pick abilities anyway. Ooh, Blastbar could be going down here.
Could be in some trouble, but no way to reactivate that stretching strike. But Dift and Blastbar need to get themselves out of this situation. Gentleman Joby, nowhere to be found. Dift has Flash. Probably going to have to use that. You'd have to think here. Call the Portage comes through. They're doing a very good job surviving thus far. Diff, you got to use that Flash. Uses it in the end, but nothing to be done. The shutdown coming through. Missing Link picking that one up. Blastbro now firing in the back line. A nice ultimate on to Stolen to interrupt that. Gentleman Joby has arrived, however. Look out for the Akala. He is in the back line. Missing Link going very low. Perfect execution. Not going to find 1 kill. However, Aliona has picked up the kill onto the Lissandra, so there is just Missing Link left alive for carry potential. There are minions conga lining in the mid lane. Teleport going to have to be used to stop those. Rapcore dead, so is Dift and Blastbar. Most of the damage is taken off this map, but the Dragon has spawned as well.
Yeah, so Holy Diver's starting to look better. Definitely not looking good, but they have made a little bit of comeback with the gold lead. They're only 5k down now, where before I think they were like 7 or something like that. So they're definitely closing the gap. They probably will lose this Dragon here. It would have to be a heroic effort from Stolen at this point to not get killed by Joby, first of all, and to get this Dragon. We'll see if he can do it. He's in range.
Does he know, though?
He's stolen!
Oh my god, what a steal from Stolen. Dragon Soul comes through, and this fight is not the fight they want to take either. It's a 3 versus 4. Aliuna has to get herself out of this situation, and Glacial Nebula, disaster at the Dragon, gets stolen away by Stolen.
It's in the name, folks. Pulls it off, gets the Mountain Soul for his team. This changes the game now, Carl. We talked about them being 5k down. Now all of a sudden it's just, oh goodness, 4k. So definitely shrinking even further now. And those Ornn items are coming through as well. First one coming through, Molten Edge onto Xayah. That's huge, right? It's a very efficient item, very powerful item too. One of the more powerful ones, actually. So that's huge. Xayah was already hitting those power spikes too, right? They have a bunch of items now, 4 items. Just got the Molten Edge. They're also just here in the late game, so they scaled very well. We saw in that last team fight them do a bunch of damage, and critically as well. Joby was right on top of Missing Link. Had ult up and everything. Featherstorm was down. Still couldn't kill the Xayah. So we might be at a point here where the comp is starting to work in favor of Holy Divers. This comp has finally come online. If they can keep peeling for the Xayah, keep winning these team fights and getting the objectives, they could win this game. It would be a hell of a comeback.
I think what we're really seeing is just really disjointed fights for Glacial Nebula. Like, they don't have everybody there at the start, and so Missing Link, if there's only one target in front of him, Gentleman Joby can't 1v5, right? And so if everyone else has died already, then there's not as much danger to that Xayah hook coming through, but these champions are very, very tanky. So I think really what needs to happen is Glacial Nebula just needs to reset, take a breath, figure out what they're doing, and fight as a team. And I think their team fight will be a lot stronger for that if they can create a little bit more chaos. Like in that top fight, Dift and Blastbro were just trying to get themselves out, and then there was a team fight around it. It wasn't really, a straight 5v5. The solo winners or the carries were getting caught out right at the start of that. So I think Glacial Nebula really just needs to have a more standard team fight where everybody's there, try to fight front to back, get Gentleman Joby in the back line, let Blastbro, free fire, and I think they'll have a lot more success.
Yeah, we're also at a point in the game where Joby can't really go on these massive tears that were going on before, so they have to be more careful with their Magi stacks. You know, earlier when they can go on a 3-4 multi-kill, you could afford to play aggressively because you knew you could get the stacks back. Now you can't one-shot Stolen anymore. You can't one-shot Spartan Might anymore. With every level that goes by, it gets more and more difficult to kill Rapcore even. So you could really only depend on maybe getting one kill in a team fight on the missing link before you go down, and that's not good for your Magi stacks. They have 17 right now. Obviously, they died and lost their 25 stacks. Now they're down 17. So you're kind of playing the most dangerous game, where before you could kind of play just more aggressively because you knew you could get the kills.
Solar Flare used in the mid lane. Not too sure what the point was with that one. Gentleman Joby on the side. Very disjointed once again for Glacial Nebula. They're going to be engaging onto Dift. He has no flash. A nice knockback, but he's going to be going down to the Glacial Tomb. Just getting picked off in the jungle time and time again. Surely that's going to be the Baron going for Holy Divers. Glacial Nebula is just falling apart.
Yeah, and the Holy Divers have a lot of pick potential inherent to their kits. They have tanks. It looks like the Glacial Nebula are not interested in this Baron at all. They're just pushing, I guess, to end, I would say. They're getting this inhib. They're definitely getting this inhib, but did they get it? There they go. Now they have it. Okay. But there's the Ornhorn again.
Might have to use the Ragnarok. They just need to get out of this situation. There is the Ragnarok, the flash as well. Gentleman Joby, maybe not the place you want to be recalling, but I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Eliuna might go down to Elastic Extinction. I'm not too sure what the range is on that one. The 1Q Stretching Strike going to come through. I think he will go down to this Solar Flare. Going to buy a little bit of time. This is a real chase, but the Dredge Line comes through. Eliuna going to be going down. Another Elastic Slingshot actually going for it. Edgerina, you don't want to get flipped. Goes into the turret. Blaster has to flash away. Depth Charge came through as well, and Adriana very low on this one. Not as tanky as you might have thought. It's a 3 versus 5 now. This is suddenly going all in favor of Holy Divers. This game is just flipped on its head. I'm not even sure if they can save the game here, Axeman.
I don't know. I don't know if they have the damage to kill these tanks anymore. Here we go. This is the fight.
Dift has flash available. Can he get it off? Yes, he can. Over the wall. Gentleman Joby in the backline as well, trying to get a lot of work time, but he goes down almost immediately, taken out of this situation. The AD carry as well. Blast Pro gonna fall. It's just Dift left to save the game. This has gone from Holy Divers ahead to Glacial Nebula ahead to Holy Divers in complete control. They're onto the Nexus. They're gonna be taking this one down, Axeman. They're evening up the series 1-1 and taking us to a game number 3.
Yeah, we are going to game 3 here. I'm super excited. Both teams shown that they've been fairly dominant. It's really just down to the comps, down to with the way the game is played. And I gotta say, Carl, I really feel like this game started and ended with the Dragon Soul. It was just always the win condition for Holy Divers. You could say that we got to just 35 minutes and Missile popped off, but I would have to disagree. I feel like it's all on Stolen for picking up these dragons, being there every single time, having the vision control, getting lane priority in their lanes, and yeah, getting this Dragon Soul that won them this game. There were a lot of things they needed to execute this comp properly. They did a few of them, but what was weird to me was that they were able to pick up this soul. I feel like nothing about this comp prioritizes objectives like that. Especially in the bot side of the map, we have a late game scaling ADC that you just want to sit in lane and scale out. Like, why this team would ever get dragons over a team with an Olaf is beyond me. Like, I'm just not really sure how this happened, Carl.
I think a lot of this loss for Glacial Nebula really comes down to them just getting picked off in the late game.
Yeah.
It felt like, 2, 3, 4 times in a row, Dift and Blast Pro were getting picked off in these side lanes, getting picked off in the jungle, and just losing fights to their teams straight away. Gentleman Joby was so strong on the Akali, and I don't think you can really blame him for not being able to hard carry these late game fights. The comp was designed to, shut him down, and he just didn't have a team that was doing a whole lot in these fights because they always started down a member. So I think, if everyone had gotten together, they just stay together as 5, they would have had a lot more chances to win these late game team fights.
Yeah, and Carl, I just want to talk about damage charts real quick. You would not know that this was a Protect the ADC comp to look at this damage chart. Missing Link did like marginally more damage than Stolen did, and then Rapcore was right behind them. This wasn't like a bunch of tanks did no damage, protected Xayah who did like 50k. This was like everybody did 20k, so a very surprising result for me for this one. Not at all how I thought that the Holy Divers would play this comp out. And I gotta say, Joby freaks me out on Akali, man. I don't know if the Holy Divers can leave that one up. That was pretty nuts.
Very, very clean by Gentleman Joby, and something to look forward to in that third game. We'll see how that pick and ban materializes. After this short break, we will be back in just a few minutes with the rubber match between Holy Divers and Glacial Nebula. Don't touch that browser. Style Esports returns in just a few. welcome back everybody to game number 3 here between the Holy Divers and Glacial Nebula. This is the rubber game. This is for all the marbles. This is for a chance at that first seed in the group playoffs here in the Piltover groups. This game has a lot riding on it. Bringing you this game number 3, I'm Jarl Carl alongside Axeman87. We are into the draft.
What's up, guys? I'm Axeman87, and you're absolutely right, Carl. This is for all the marbles. This is the last game in the series. Right out of the gates, Rare Candy's Nautilus is banned away. It was just too good in game 2. Now, I say that with an asterisk, but you have to pay extra to read the footnotes, folks, so we won't talk about that one. It is going to be the Ezreal ban, followed by the Kayn ban. This time, for the Holy Divers, I'm pretty sure we've seen Glacial Nebula ban those champions the last few. Actually, I might be incorrect about that now that I'm thinking about it, because Diana ban comes through from Glacial Nebula, so maybe it was them that was banning the solo laners this whole time. Yeah, so more jungle bans coming through as well. Graves, we saw Aliona have a massive game on Graves in game 1, so I think this is probably a good takeaway. What did get left up was Akali for Joby, who just had a crazy Akali game.
Maybe they're going for the first pick. What do you think? Spartan Might running it back.
The salty run back, not sure. Set picked up here. Great flex pick. I love this draft already. We'll see what Nebula answers with here. I would say probably just like another, flex pick, just not giving away too much. But we haven't really seen Glacial Nebula pull any kind of draft tricks or anything like that. They mostly just pick their support, bot lane, mid lane, jungler, and then top laner, and it looks like that might be what they're going for again. So Leona here. Yeah, Leona comes through. We'll see a marksman here in just a little bit. I would say take MF away from Missing Link, but Missing Link just had a great Xayah game. We've seen them on Jhin tonight too, so maybe it's not worth picking away. Maybe Blast Pro just wants to pick up something they're comfortable on. We saw them on Ashe last game, but it didn't look great.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan.
They did okay, I would say, but if they have a better champion, I would like to see that in game 3.
We're breaking with tradition here. Wukong's been.
Or are we? Is it Wukong bot? I don't know.
X-Men. No.
Probably not.
I will take you out to dinner if it's Wukong bot.
All right, I can't wait.
It's got to be Wukong top here, coming through for Gentleman Joby up in the top lane against that set. I was hyping up the Ashe in the draft. You may remember last game, and it didn't quite work out. So kind of gonna have to rethink my Ashe theory on that one. But Sejuani's gone over for Stolen. Zach was bad out. He says, "Hey, it's still a tank meta." And Sejuani's basically the same champion, so gonna be picking that one up, leaving the door open for a Trundle pick maybe for Aliona. Not too sure if she plays that one, but Trundle does very well against Sejuani, and Set could steal away those resistances. So we'll see how that works out for them. Vladimir in the mid lane, it's a Style Esports special picked up for Rapcore.
Yeah, really. I feel like I only see Vladimir in Style Esports, but it doesn't do terrible, so it's probably fine. Diff picking up Syndra again in a similar order to last time. It's really just this Wukong that's kind of broken up with tradition so far. I would imagine we're going to see Marksman in the top laner. Trying to get a last pick for Joby has been okay, I would say. It didn't really work out too well for them in game 1. They just got the Maokai pick. Now they did win that game, so maybe it worked out better than I'm leading on, but I really feel like once Joby got that carry position, Glacial Nebula were just in a much better position. I mean, that Akali was truly amazing last game. It was just the case where there were too many tanks, and at some point, even the most fed Akali in league ever couldn't kill all the tanks. So it just, it wasn't great. I felt similarly about Blast Pro's Ashe. I mentioned before the draft that the Ashe might want to go for a CDR build to maximize that pick potential onto Missing Link. They went for on-hit almost to say, hey, a bunch of tanks, I have to kill all of them. That's my objective, so I'm going to go on-hit so I can shred them faster. That was never your objective, killing all the tanks. You do not have to ace that comp, right? So I feel like you go CDR there. Maybe the Ashe would have been a little bit better, but yeah, I feel like we don't run back the Ashe. I feel like we come with something new. I'm thinking like an early game duelist, which we really haven't seen yet. We saw MF, but
I think MF's still fine here.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'll take the Vayne though. I do like Vayne a lot against double tanks. She has a lot of trouble with Vladimir. From personal experience, if this Vladimir gets fed, Vayne is so short range, she will probably just get one shot, melting away faster than a ice cream sandwich on a summer day. But otherwise, she does very well against Set, does very well against Sejuani, does not do well against Misfortune, and that is still on the table, so that could be a bit of a problem in lane. We'll see what the support pick is. I'm thinking maybe a Braum could be good here. What are you feeling?
Yeah, Braum. I think it's probably the move here.
Acts like, yep, just Braum.
Yeah. I feel like knowing Red Candy, this is probably, this is just the pick you go for when Nautilus is banned away. And we've seen it a couple times now. I don't always love Red Candy on Braum and Nautilus. I feel like a lot of times there are some issues with, like we've seen already a couple times in this series, like they'll flash for missing links kills, or, ignite someone who's very low and maybe they didn't have to, or flash, miss a Q, something like that. But, Braum is a very good champion, and I've seen Missing Link on Misfortune. They got a pentakill. I watched it live on air. It was insane. So, they probably have a competent bot lane down there. I'm not sold on this Vayne Leona. I'm not sure if Blastpro has the mechanics for this Vayne to, how do I put this? Validate the pick, I guess. I feel like if I see you pick Vayne, I need to see you hard carry every other game in the series, especially game 3, right? I mean, we've seen you twice now, and it hasn't been hard carrying the team, so I'm not really sure about the Vayne. Now, Vayne is more of a unique style champion, I will say. So maybe they're just really good at Vayne, and we've been seeing the second string for them all night so far, and they hard carry. But my gut would say probably not. Now, we do have a lot of other carry potential here with the Wukong, Camille, Syndra. It's a lot of damage coming through. Again, another comp that doesn't have a huge front line up against the Holy Divers, which are all front line in an ADC.
Yeah, I don't think Blastpro is going to have that much success on this Vayne. I think the Vayne, not even because of them or how they play or anything else, but the fact that they're against Misfortune Vladimir. I think this Vayne's going to have so much difficulty staying alive in these fights. If she's able to get to 4 items, get a QSS, Rage Blades, Phantom Dancer, Blade of the Ruined King coming through, she could survive. But I don't think she's going to be allowed to get to that point in this game. I don't think Adriana, excuse me, on the Leona is going to be able to keep her alive, even in lane. If Braum lands a Q, Misfortune can follow up with the auto attacks, get the stun down. Misfortune does so much damage early. Vayne is just not that strong in that early game. I think this lane will go heavily in favor of the Holy Divers. Watch it just be a caster curse. Blastpro gets a double kill at level 2, but I think Rapcore will do fine against Dift in the mid lane, Stolen on the tank jungler. I'm not familiar with the set Camille matchup, but Gentleman Joby has shown some prowess with those kind of random top lane carries.
Yeah, absolutely. We just saw him hard win a Nakali lane into an Ornn. I feel like Camille and Sed is an even closer lane. So I feel like Joby is really going to do big things in this lane. They also have a Wukong jungle, and I feel like that's a little bit more gank pressure too than the Olaf was, definitely in the top side of the map, because I don't think Olaf wants to spend too much time up there. I could see Aliona taking Wukong top lane and trying to shut down the Sed, because while we say Sed is a big health bar, a big tank, he's a juggernaut. He's not a tank, right? Sed can hard carry this game too. It just doesn't happen as often. The statistics would say. But there's big damage in Sed's kit too, and shutting him down would definitely be valuable. But I feel like Joey's probably going to do big things in this lane. The mid lane is a lane where I have a lot of question marks here. There's a lot of damage here, but I feel like Dift wins this early, Rapcore wins this late. Is that how that breaks down? Or
I would say so. I don't think Dift's going to have a ton of success in killing Rapcore early on. He might pressure him out of lane, absolutely, but Vladimir's pretty hard to solo kill, just because he can pool whenever the Unleashed Power comes through. Even if he gets stunned with the Scout of the Week, he'll be able to pool before most of the ultimate orbs hit him. So I think Rapcore will be safe, but will probably lose this lane. Unless Stolen does come to help, I would expect Dift will not have cleanse this game, so that ultimate post 6 could be a kill onto Dift, and Aliona could come in for the gank, but again, Vladimir the pool, it's pretty easy to escape on Vladimir. So I think this mid lane will be winning for Dift, but maybe not in the kill reward, in the kill, area.
Yeah, definitely. You just wave clear. Maybe they get some roams in. I know they have scaling in Camille and Vayne, so that would definitely be valuable for Dift if they can make that happen. But, there's also so much pressure coming from the Wukong that they almost don't have to. They can really just stay in lane and keep soaking up XP if they want to. Depends on what they want. I definitely, having seen last game, would like to see Aliona with more pressure, more of a look towards the bottom side of the map, get those dragons down. They basically lost game 2 because the Holy Divers picked up Dragon Soul. So I think at this point, if you're on Glacial Nebula, you have to say, hey, we need at least a dragon. like before 20 minutes, or this
Yeah.
is just not going to go well for us again. Especially with the the scaling they have. If they just give up the Dragon Soul, that scaling is not going to matter. So you definitely gotta, but at least get one, right?
Depends what the soul is, of course, but yeah, you do want to get a dragon sometime in the early game. One of the first three, you would say for sure you do want to get. Looking at the summoner spells, cleanse for Misfortune is going to make this lane even harder for Blast Pro and Adruina. I don't see a way where this Vayne Leona lane can win. I think Vayne Leona is a pretty strong lane, just not against Misfortune Braum, which is an earlier game and stronger lane overall. I think. I would expect this to be very heavily favored by the Holy Divers. Like I've said before. The rest of the keystones look pretty standard. Electrocute on Syndra for more burst. Vladimir escaping with that phase rush. A little bit surprised to see Ignite on both mid laners. Vladimir especially would have probably expected to see either Ghost or Teleport. I'm not too sure what the Ignite's going to achieve in this game.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Carl, the more I look at the comp from Glacial Nebula, the less I like it. We just saw Holy Divers win with a big scaling comp. Now, they had a lot of frontline, obviously, but the marquee scaling was basically Xayah and just getting Xayah online and then running it down mid and Xayah killing everything. And that's just how they won. Dragon Soul helped them too as well, Stolen getting the Dragon Soul. But when you look at the team for Glacial Nebula, there's so much scaling here that it doesn't make sense considering they just watched the enemy team win through the Dragon Soul. For me, if I'm the Holy Divers, I'm like, cool, we just do the same thing we did last game and we just win again because we have Dragon Soul. How is a Vayne Leona bot lane with a Syndra mid kicker ever going to get bot pressure? Like,
They will not.
They won't. You just can't. So is the plan to just lose all the dragons again and maybe hopefully outscale this time? Because I feel like that's not a great plan.
That seems like that plan does not seem ideal by any stretch of the imagination. Holy Divers going for a little walk here together early game, but nothing going to come of it. They do get a ward, actually. Who got the kill on that ward? Went over to Rare Candy, so not a lot from that. If you do kill a ward as a mid laner, you will get level 2 off of just the first wave. You don't need to wait for that next creep to come through, so that can sometimes be relevant. In this game, going over to Rare Candy will not be important in the slightest, but a slight gold lead now for the Holy Divers. Starting off the game with the lead, Axeman.
Yeah, all 30 gold or whatever. Very
10.
good.
Make it 10, X.
All right, so even less there.
Yeah.
You can tell I don't take a lot of wards, chat. You can tell I don't take a lot of wards. So we're expecting Diff to be ahead here in the early. I mean, they just have a lot of poke coming through. Yeah, they're totally bullying Rapcore out of lane right now. This is brutal to watch, but Rapcore's got some healing in the kit. Also very hard, you already mentioned, to kill Rapcore, who just basically pools and runs away. Something we haven't really talked about, Stolen on the Sejuani pick. You mentioned it's kind of like replaceable or interchangeable, I guess, with the Zac pick. Kind of in so much as it has hard engage tools and is also a tank jungler. But what we've seen the last couple of patches is Sejuani actually fall pretty far behind Zac in terms of like jungle pedigree. Sejuani's fairly low on the list right now. I would say like a B tier jungler. So I'm wondering if that is going to change things for Holy Divers, because we saw Stolen just go on a tear game 2, right? He picked up all the dragons. That's the easiest metric by which to judge Stolen's jungling ability. He also did like second most damage in the game, so that was nuts too. No, Blast Pro in the bot lane. Yeah,
Blast Pro taking some damage back though. Still level 1 to level 2. Exhaust goes down. Flash stun comes through. Blast Pro not able to move, able to get themselves away though. Heal still available, and it's just a level 1 difference there. Trying to fight back level 1 versus level 2. I don't think you want to expend the flashes there. You want to just get level 2 and then fight again. You already got a huge chunk out of Blast Pro. Those flashes just not worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the saving grace here for Blast Pro is that passive is going to shred Rare Candy down very quickly. If they can use that to their advantage and stack up enough autos on the Braum and eventually poke them out of lane, that could get them an advantage. But, oh my, I didn't even see that happen. What?
Sejuani, Stolen shows up, goes in on Diff, flash away, flash to follow. Pretty straightforward kill there on the gank. Gentleman Joby in a little bit of trouble in the top lane. Spartan Might running after him, saying, you might be a gentleman, but I'm not. I am just going to hit you in the face. Flash forced away from Mr. Gentleman.
Yep, flashed away as the E comes up. There's going to be a fight with the junglers in the topside river. If Aliona chooses it, Stolen, I don't think can see this. I guess they could somehow. I'm not really sure how.
Little does you know there. Everybody walks away.
Yeah, unless Aliona comes back. Rapcore getting super low now.
Unless we're going for another fight. Stolen Arctic Assault over the wall. looks like everybody is going to be okay. We're finally out of this one. Stolen picked up that Scuttle Crab, so that's going in their favor. Leona not quite able to pick that one up, but still quite ahead in farm. 2 camps up on this Wukong.
I would like to see, Carl, a list of all the Freljord champions' abilities whose names are essentially some kind of ice qualifying adjective with a noun attached. Like Arctic Assault, Glacial Prison, Glacial Fissure,
Glacial Path.
Frozen Tomb, Glacial Path. I'm pretty sure it's just all the ability. I need a count on that. We'll have to get that later. But Blast Bow, excuse me, very low. Still in lane. Has not backed yet. So playing the most dangerous game at this point, especially with missing like one double up, I would say might kill Blastberry.
I think so. If it crits. If you get the crit coming through, that should kill Blastberry. It doesn't heal. This feels really bad if you're Vayne. If you're in this position, you feel like you can't really recall. Because you're gonna give up so many creeps, but at the same time you're just giving up the creeps by virtue of not being able to hit them. So Blastbro in a really rough spot, even despite the flashes being 1 at level 1. He lost his flash, and is now, or she lost her flash, excuse me, and is now just kind of in a pretty sad spot. The bot lane, they're gonna probably need Aliona to kind of gain some pressure back and get them a nice recall.
Yeah, I would say so. Need to come relieve them, get them a reset timer. Dragon has spawned. Obviously, I think if in terms of wanting either team to succeed, I need a jungler here soon. This has been a huge win condition for Holy Divers. Aliona is in the bot lane.
This engage is, in my mind, at least doomed to fail, and it indeed does fail. They use Flash, and they just get the cleanse on a missing link, who cleanses and just walks off. Blastbro can't follow up, right? She's so low on this Vayne, in a really rough spot. I don't even think that will relieve pressure, really, in the bot lane, because nothing really happened. Blastbro is still so low. This lane state is just doomed right now for this Vayne.
Yeah, it's real rough. At most, this is gonna get a couple more gold in the pockets of Blastbro. Maybe they could pick up a couple more component items of like Bork or something. But other than that, yeah, not really helping too much. Arguably not worth the Wukong's time. I think she might have, even made a mistake even going there at all. But I do like the proactive attitude, right? I said I need a jungler here if we want, success in the bot side of the map. You got to take these dragons. So I like that Aliona's down there. I don't think they can get priority in the bot lane. I think you need to take it from the mid lane at this point. And I definitely want to. Ooh, Rapcore could go down. Ignite taking.
I think he's dead.
Yeah, he's dead. There it is.
Kill. The pool only lasts so long. You're still burning down. Well, you're in it. Blood will not save you from fire. Rapcore finds himself in the death chamber.
Alright, I need him running to Dragon now. Aliona and Diff at this moment. They have lane priority finally in a mid lane. I don't care if Diff doesn't have mana, like we need to take this Dragon, but their bot lane isn't even here, so I still don't think they could take the Dragon, which is pretty rough because now Stolen's in the area. He does have bot priority. I feel like they just rotate onto it and take the first Dragon in the game. Not good news for Glacial Nebula.
Definitely not. Looks like the Dragon's going to be stopped, at least for a little while longer, so a little bit of a stall on any potential soul coming out later in this game, but yeah, definitely not what these teams would have wanted. You do want to see that Dragon go over with that kill in the mid lane, but there's just no bot pressure, right? Blast Pro able to get boots. That's not a great buy. Down 20 CS against the BF sword. This is a very pleasant lane for Missing Link. Cleanse up in a few minutes only, so Ping's already on the Dragon. Holy Diver's just winning on the bot side.
Yeah, now Diff did ward this before they backed, which I like. So they're at least going to get to see Holy Divers take this Dragon this time, which is more than they've had so far in the series. But, I mean, I guess it helps them a little bit. So I definitely like the look towards Vision there. Top lane. Fight going down. Joby taking a lot of damage. Not going to go down, though. And the Holy Divers are going to pick up the first Dragon in the game. So Soul, not going to be Mountain. I think that's pretty good for Glacial Nebula. Not going to be Ocean either, which is also good for them. If Holy Divers take the Soul, it's not going to be, necessarily as big as it could have been. I feel like if you get a Cloud Soul or even an Infernal Soul, that's probably manageable. I think, Braum and Sejuani doing extra damage is basically useless, and probably Set as well, not doing a whole lot either. So I feel like best bet for them at this point is probably Cloud or Infernal. So they get lucky on this one, but I would like to see them try to get some kind of Dragon, even if it's just by stealing it. You do have Wukong, has that invisibility. Oh, here we go.
flash engage in the mid lane. Diff trying to flash to get himself out to safety. Stolen very low. There is the Q and the Hemo play coming through. Rapcore picking up the kill onto Diff. A lot of damage traded back, but it doesn't matter. Syndra's dead. Rapcore is not. Might see a fight in the bot lane. Looks like that's going to fizzle out. Blast Pro get themselves out.
Yeah, nice tumble there from Blast Pro, and they make it out of that situation. Aliona could be looking for Rift Herald. Not going to look for it, actually. Maybe giving him a little bit too much credit there. Oh, there it is. We got there in the end. And Aliona is onto this Rift Herald here. If they could trade it back for that Dragon, that's going to be really good. I love when junglers do this. You get some value back in terms of like the epic monsters and then trading them around. You know, I would almost have expected someone to be up there, but here, engage from Adarina.
Yeah, nothing gonna come of that one. That was not that was like a fake engage. He was just trying to bait a little bit out, maybe. From that, you never are gonna win that engage against Missing Link and Rare Candy with all summoners up. Level 6s have come through. Missing Link is so much stronger than this Vayne. At this point, you're gonna need Bork and maybe part of Rageblade before you can really even start to dream of taking that fight. Fight the top lane though. Showstopper comes through. Stolen's on the scene. Aliuna with a Cyclone. That's number 1 coming through. Spartan might trying to get themselves out to safety. Gentleman Joby has gone over the wall. One more Q could take them out. Aliuna gonna be picking up that kill. Stolen now trying to chase forward. Rapcore is arriving on the scene as well. Diff is coming in at the same time from the other side of this one. Stolen could be going very low. Nice Sun gonna go down, but it is just onto Aliona who's gonna be able to get themselves out. Stolen, is the Arctic Assault available? No, it is not. Gentleman Joby picking up the 1 kill. A stun onto Rapcore as well. No more escape tools for him here. Gets hit by 1 more Q. Is the Scatter of the Week available? No, it is not. Diff not gonna have that off cooldown quite in time, but a fight win for Glacial Nebula in the top side jungle.
Yeah, Rapcore gets away narrowly with their life there. 2.5 minutes to Dragon, so still a little bit of time before we want to think about Vision here. Missing Link and Rare Candy continue to shove this lane in to Blast Pro, who is getting you know, some CS. I think they're probably doing pretty admirably considering the circumstance, but big double up on Adarina there. Can't take too many of those. Aliona's in the area that could be the gank here. Solar Flare comes down maybe a little early.
Yeah, a little lackluster, didn't quite hit the target. Even if they did, though, Missing Link does have the cleanse available. So I don't really think that was a gank that was ever going to have a lot of success. It's just too easy to get away. In the mid lane, speaking of not being able to get away, Diff taking a lot of damage getting set up by that Glacial Prison. Rapcore going to miss the E. Hemo play goes down, actually, the 1 Q. I don't think Diff will die. I think he's okay.
Yeah, I feel like for Aliona here, you want to either like hover mid or look to take enemy camps like Raptors or something like that and just try to stay close and look for the counter gank. I feel like that'd be really effective against Stolen and Rapcore. Rapcore is going to have to use a lot of those abilities, the pool, to avoid damage from Diff and to catch up to them as well. If you come in right after they use all those abilities, it could flip the script on that gank. But yeah, if you just continue coming bot lane to get nothing, you're eventually just going to be ineffective, and it's just you're just gonna waste your time, and you're going to be behind Stolen. Aliona already is a level behind Stolen, so we can already see some of that some of the effects of that coming through. But you can still pull it back, I think. If you're the Wukong, I think if you start coming mid more often or trying to like stay in the area for a counter gank, I feel like you can still bring this game back.
In the mid lane, Rapcore gonna have to get away from the E of Gentleman Joby. Slow goes down, a couple of Qs as well. Might be even just trying to go for the tower dive. Rapcore very low under this tower. Diff can't pick up the kill. There's the Scatter of the Week for the kill, but in the bot lane, Spartan might has teleported in onto Adarina. There's the Solar Flare for a bit of distance to be bought. Blast Pro trying to kite away, but just does not do too much damage. Aliona has arrived on the scene as well. Her team coming down to assist if need be. Spartan might maybe trying to bite off a little bit more than he can chew. There is the clone on that one, but Spartan might in a very bad position right now, very low, gonna get taken out straight away. Blast Pro has picked up that 1 kill. Gentleman Joby in all sorts of trouble with the bullet time. Coming across, has to flash away from that spell. It's the 5 versus 3 down in the bot lane. No Rapcore, no Spartan Might. He is dead right now. This is not a fight that the Holy Divers want to take. Diff maybe trying to go in for a little bit more on the situation. Rare Candy gonna get set up with the Scatter of the Week. Unleashed Power is available. There it is. Is the shield up? It is not, but it does not seem to be. Rare Candy gonna be okay in the bot lane. Everybody escapes from that one except Spartan Might, who died at the start.
So we went from the Holy Divers blowing so many cooldowns to try and kill Adarina, only for Adarina to flash out and get away safely, to Glacial Nebula wasting so many cooldowns and so many resources to try and kill Rare Candy, and then getting away safely. Stop ulting the supports, guys. It's not going to get you an advantage. It's not going to help, especially if you don't kill them, right? We do see Aliona going for this dragon, though. They're going to pick up a dragon here. This, in my mind, is huge for them. Now your scaling comp is 5 extra minutes to scale. I always say this, the scaling comps, when you can take a dragon, it just always helps so much. And it's difficult to see the benefits of it later, but they are there. And you have to respect them when you're looking at early game dragons like this. Now, it would have been late anyway. But now the Dragon Soul can't be picked up at like 24 minutes or whatever by Holy Divers. This is huge. This is really impactful. There's also an Ocean Drake, which is just really solid early game anyway. So
yeah, very nice dragon, and it's going to be 29 minutes before either of these teams are able to pick up the soul. That is quite a long time to be waiting for that major buff for your team there. Dift escaping in the mid lane, getting away from a potential collapse by Stolen and Rapcore. Gentleman Joby getting himself away from Spartan Might, who's just kind of constantly running at him. Is down a lot of CS. Both the solo lanes, 106 to 68 right now. That is not where you want to be CS-wise.
yeah, Joby's kind of at this point where they can all in Spartan Might if they have ult and everything up, and they could probably kill him, but if Stolen is even like kind of close in the area, they're definitely dying. So you kind of have to, you know, hold your cards a little bit and wait for the right moment. Ali on the bot lane.
Fighting the bot lane, missing link with either a genius QSS or a miss on the solar flare. Wasn't too sure which it was on that one in the mid lane. Rapcore getting ignited. One more Q should take him out. He just goes down straight away. Dift with a thunderbolt of a kill in the mid lane. No ultimate even needed to pick up the kill onto Rapcore. That is not what I expected to see in this mid lane.
Yeah, we saw Diff do this in game 2 as well, killing people on cooldown with Unleashed Power there. We might start to see it as well. Now, it'd be a little more difficult with the Vladimir, but we just saw him pull him off with Rapcore there. Eventually, you know, it's just another cooldown. The pool, if you can get him to use it, you wait it out, then you ult them, that's just as effective, right? So, here's the fight.
You're fighting the bot lane. Blasper taking so much damage so quickly. Winner's Bite able to be dodged away from bullet time. Not going to pick up the kill as well, but the stun should come down onto Adruina. This could be the engage following through for Missing Link. Decides not to continue in. Maybe didn't know where Aliuna is. Jungler has arrived though, so feeling a little bit more confident to step forward. Nobody dies, but Blastpro has to use both summoners. Barely escapes with her life. I also want to mention Unleashed Power is not used in that mid lane kill. He killed the
Really?
with no ultimate. Yeah, it's still up. That was not a glitch on your screen. That was not used. Vladimir just kind of died. He's down 2 levels. He's in quite a hole.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, so I guess Diff having a real good lane today. I know that Ignite kill earlier taking down was super unfortunate, just barely being able to pick up the kill on the Rapcore. Joby under tower gets the kill on a Spartan Might. I didn't see that happen.
Nice dive by Gentleman Joby, and a nice showstopper by Spartan Might taking Gentleman Joby all the way, like, you know, between the tower and the wall. So quite a nice stun.
Hold the bot lane.
Killed back in the bot lane. The shield is off. Rare Candy trying to keep his AD alive. Vincent Link is going to be just fine on this situation. Rare Candy taking a lot of damage, though, very low, but he is going to be able to escape from that one. Extricated himself very nicely.
Oh, wow.
Out of that gang. A little bit of a whiff on the Glacial Prison on that one. Finger Blast Pro, though, could be in all sorts of trouble. Going to be able to get herself, I should say, away from that one. Missing Link. Not quite able to capitalize on these kills. You can tell he's like, he really wants to get these kills. He's not quite able to do so. Might be able to do so now. Not going to happen. Mid lane, that's just a kill. Once again on a killing spree. Rapcore gone down. Both summoners still available. Wasn't able to use those. Teleport in the bot lane. Gentleman Joby arriving, but not able to help his team.
Yeah, not quite able to do too much. So maybe a rough teleport there. But Aliona did pick up the Rift Herald. I don't think they dropped. Yeah, they didn't drop it top, so they still have that in their inventory. Obviously, this is the second Rift Herald, so there's no plating or anything like that. We're like 17 minutes. So you're really just looking for, I would say, the most important structure you can get, and then following immediately after, just like one you can get with just the charge. I think at this point, you have the outer mid turret. Just use the Rift Herald to get something, like get a tower with it. Oh, here we go.
Yep, Spartan Mike going to be going down here. Only a matter of time. Cyclone one more time could be coming through. Not needed. Gentleman Joby going to be picking up that kill. Trinity Force is completed for this Camille. This is a very scary side laner, and there's honestly nobody that can match her at this point. Both solo laners are so far behind that I don't think either of them can be matched. Rapcore down 3 levels in the mid lane. He is just in so much trouble now, X-Man.
Yeah, so the mid lane inner turret might have been more valuable, but at this point, you're in the area, drop it, get the gold, move on. They're hard pushing. They might even get the inner turret for the top lane here.
Rapcore going down once again. No ultimate needed again. Diff just ignites him. Nice stun. It was a Q stun. W, ignite, auto attack, and he's gone. You don't even need to land the ultimate. He's so much damage, and Rapcore is basically out of this game, I would say, for quite a long time. Blade of the Ruin King has been completed for Blast Pro in the bot lane, so he might see the fight coming through, but Missing Link has the Essence Reaver as well, so able to fight back. And you don't even need the Herald in the mid lane if your mid laner just kind of takes the inner turret down to half HP by themselves.
Basically, yeah, we got structures going down all over Summoner's Rift. Top outer turret for the Glacial Nebula goes down, or bot outer turret, excuse me. Top outer turret for Holy Divers and inner turret as well going down, and a whole lot of damage dropped onto that inhib turret too. So that is a lot of structural damage to take. Oh, here we go.
Dift going low, taken out, missingly able to cleanse away from the stun. Not actually sure if he got stunned, so it might have been a little bit of a whiff on the cleanse, but in any regard, not taken down from that one. Gentleman Joby on the side. Showstopper has been used onto him. Should be able to escape from this, though. Spartan might missing that second ability. Not able to get the CC, but Gentleman Joby going in onto Rapcore, going very... Oh my god, that damage on him. Heal Plague has gone down. Where is the E? Gentleman Joby going to be backing himself away, but Rapcore taken out of that fight almost completely. Blastbird now trying to do some damage on this Vayne. There's a huge Cyclone with a lot of damage coming through. Showstopper doing a lot as well. The bullet time gets interrupted almost straight away. Joby has to run for the hills. Blastbird and Adgerina now full health against the low health bars of the Holy Divers. They win the fight numbers-wise. Actually a 1-for-1 because Diff was already dead, but they do lose on the HP front. Joby very low on the side. He can be taken down. Looks like this dragon might still be contested, but there is no jungler for either side available. This could be a wild dragon take. Looks like it will go over in favor of Glacial Nebula. I don't think there's any way this can be stolen away, but Joby's on a ward. Might not be aware. He's going to be aware now. Gets himself out to the wall. Red team has slain the dragon. Second dragon of the game goes in favor of Glacial Nebula.
Yeah, and eventually Blastpro able to pick up that dragon with the passive, shredding it down very fast, and just like that, all of a sudden Glacial Nebula, they have the dragon lead. One more to soul point, another after that for the Dragon Soul. With such a hard scaling comp, this is massive. If they can pick up both just like Holy Divers did in game 2, they just win. I mean, we already saw it. We watched Holy Divers do it in real time last game. You are basically unstoppable if you have late game hyper carries with the Dragon Soul. Now, the Dragon Soul here is Cloud, so maybe a little bit less effective, but I think Vayne is probably going to appreciate that Cloud Soul quite a bit. Aliona, definitely the same story, so Cloud Soul definitely going to help out the Glacial Nebula if they can get it. I'm just kind of assuming here. Diff in trouble.
Gonna be going down in... Oh my god.
Wow.
Almost picking up the kill, but not enough. Rapcore trying to get back in the game. 4-5 now, so not doing too bad in the kill front. Just not great on the side of the CS. Only about 5 a minute for him. One of the criticisms we had of Diff last game was just getting caught out too much, and he does once again get caught out there and die.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like you can't be in the jungle as Syndra. You obviously do a lot of damage, but there's so many... just tanky members of Holy Divers that you can't one-shot or even get half of the health bar down with, that you just can't be running in the jungle. You gotta stay in lane, or at least stay with another member of your team, at least, because you can't get picked like that. But this is not looking good for Missing Link, man. They are about to get dove here. It's gonna be the next wave. Not looking good
for Rapcore either in the top lane. He has nowhere to run, just trying to cut out Gentleman Joby, but a few more Qs will pick up the kill for this Camille. 4-1-3, doing very well for himself with the Trinity Force and the Tiamat coming through. Stolen could be next up on the chopping block, trying to get a bit more damage against him, but Stolen a little bit tankier than his mid lane counterpart, so able to survive a little longer against Gentleman Joby, although I'm not sure I envy him regardless. Taking a lot of damage still. He goes down pretty fast. Ooh, misses the E. Not sure what happened there, Gentleman Joby. Might have to get himself out. Showstopper is available. Is he in range? Uses the flash. Can he get that one down? Gentleman Joby is always going back in for more. Not sure that's the decision I would have made. Heal not in time to come through. He goes down. Camille is out of that one. Blastbro having to run away in the top lane. Rare Candy and Missing Link walking forward for this fight. There's a flash. Glacial Fissure coming through. Blastbro doing a lot of damage though in the side. Gonna get taken out eventually by this Vayne. Traded 1-for-1. 80 carry for support. Running away in the bot lane. Adgerina has to get away from that misfortune. Not somebody that you can 1v1. No mana, but it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, now with enough damage done by Joby onto Stolen, Diff is able to 100-0 the Sejuani. Oh man, Spartan might...
Gonna be fine. The Diff gonna be taken out again. Just caught out of position for, the time and time again in the top lane. What are you doing by yourself? Yeah, you can do a lot of damage to the squishies, but once the tank shows up, once the teams arrive, you just can't get anything done. He goes down for the 5th time in this game.
Yeah, for me, I feel like if you're diffed, you one-shot somebody in lane in a very safe position, you reset, spend the gold, come back to lane. That's it. That's your whole job if you're not in a team fight scenario. Pushing lanes all the way to inhib and trying to one-shot Sejuani, even though being successful in killing Sejuani, this is super aggressive from Lissandra. I don't know what's going on. I feel like you're not like having this like half this level of aggression, right? I feel like you're like mid lane right against your tower, just kind of waiting for the next team fight scenario so you can delete the enemy carry and hard carry your team. But yeah, that's not what we're seeing from Diff at all. And Spartan Might could be in trouble. Adrena does not have the movement speed to keep up with the set quite there. Oh, here we go.
Could be caught out of position. Adrena, very tanky. Blastbro now on the side, has the Rage Blade available, but gets stunned up, taken out of half HP. Final hour has been popped, trying to kite themselves away. Eliuna going to be taken out on the side. Missing Link has picked up that one kill, but there's a condemn into the wall. Blastbro trying to go huge in this fight. Spartan Might almost taken down, but that's a huge haymaker. What a great use of that ability, taking out that champion on this one. That's a lot of damage. Blastbro doesn't even know what hit her, but she is out of this one. Meanwhile, on the top side, though, gentlemen, Joby picking up the inhibitor. Diff going very low, going to be blocked by the shield, just in a terrible place once again, taken out. That shield is too strong against your ultimate, good sir. You are off the map.
Yeah, once again, kind of like randomly in the jungle, it gets 2v1. Unfortunate for Diff. Joby doing very well to pick up the inhib here. I think that's probably the saving grace for Glacial W here. Other than that, they didn't get very much of the time. I think they killed Stolen at some point, but that's about it. And if the height of your success is killing the enemy tank jungler, not doing so well. They did get the inhib though, so that's pretty good for them. And Dragon wasn't up critically as well. That would have set them behind quite a bit. Now the Dragon is up. They are kind of behind as far as vision control goes, so they're going to have to contest this. And it's really going to be their first real Dragon fight, I would say.
Cyclone has to be used though. Eliuna has to get herself out, and that's a huge cooldown to not have for this fight. Gentlemen, Joby not here either. This is going very low, very quickly. Going to be taken down in favor of Holy Divers. 2-2 now in the Dragon situation.
Oh, that's bad.
Taken down to bullet time. Jungler taken out straight away. Gentlemen, Joby has to run for the hills. Glacial Prison going to be used onto Andrewina. She's not going to be able to get anything done. Rapcore picks up that kill, and it's just going from bad to worse now for Glacial. Nebula losing fight after fight.
Definitely. So those were the two best champions for Glacial Nebula to have die, were Wukong and then the Leona as well. Those are the champions that had the least gold on their team. So it's bad, but it's not like our carry got picked bad. Obviously, they don't want that to happen too much, but Blast Pro is very much still in the game. They're taking red. Here we see, we take a look at the gold real quick. I feel like that's the most impactful. So Blast Pro is behind Missing Link right now. However, we're at 26 minutes. I feel like we're around the cusp, around the threshold of where I start to say, it doesn't matter the gold difference. Vayne is just going to kill your team, and if you have a misfortune, there's nothing you can do about it. There is still good bullet times that can be landed. If the tumble isn't up, that could be huge, but other than that, that window is kind of closing for Holy Divers. They are also very much behind in the gold department as a team on a whole, so not looking too good for them right now. They did pick up that dragon, though. That's going to set Dragon Soul back again another 5 minutes. It's 2 dragons apiece, so really they're both equally in the running for Dragon Soul too. It's looking like Glacial Nebula are going for this Baron, though. We see them gathering around the pit there. They actually have started it up, and they can do this. It's going down steadily.
Yeah, Blast Pro does a lot of damage. She is doing probably 80% of the damage in this pit. Not quite strong enough yet to just kind of really burst it down. You were mentioning, it might be late enough that the Vayne can just carry regardless of the gold deficit. I don't think so. I would say you need the Phantom Dancer, that third and maybe a half of a fourth item before that really does become true. We saw the Haymaker do so much damage to her. There's a lot of ways she can kind of just randomly die in these fights, and she needs a couple more items before she really can rip through these champions to such an extent. She has the damage right now, but really not the survivability. So we'll have to wait to see that come through. For her. That Phantom Dancer almost completed for her, so she's getting pretty close. You're definitely right about that, but I don't think quite there. Probably not for the next team fight, but maybe the one after that. This Vayne could really start to be online unless she does misplay. So that's something to watch out for as well. Misfortune starting to pick up some armor shred, has her 2 items completed as well, so she is definitely hitting like a truck.
She certainly is. Did tons of damage at the moment, has the death cap completed, so doing a lot of damage. So Joby could be in trouble here.
Could lead them on a merry chase, however, avoids that when Glacial Prison has been used. Has flash if he needs it to get away, or he might just try to flip the script on this one. There is the ultimate coming through. Spartan by taking so much damage. Haymaker should be available, but it doesn't even make any difference. Gentlemen, Joby has picked up the kill. That's the shutdown. This is going to be the double kill. Almost certainly. Stolen goes down. Disaster strikes for the Holy Divers. It looked like they were in a good position, but suddenly everything is all falling apart. The mid lane inhibitor is going to fall at the same time. We didn't even talk about that. The members were all in the bot lane trying to kill Joby. Can't even kill him, and you lose your inhibitor. He's now pushing in the bot lane. Mid and top inhibitor are off the map.
They certainly are. Things not looking good for Holy D at the moment. How do they come back from this here? I'm not really sure. I guess you still have that Dragon Soul win condition. It seems pretty distant at this point, like 10 minutes out, or like 6 minutes, excuse me.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. They have a lot of things that can go wrong for them in this game still before they have a chance to win it. You just need the Vladimir to be strong. You need the Missing Link. You need Missing Link to be strong as well. So they're going to need to wait a little while, but they're just losing on the scaling as well. So I don't want to say Elder Dragon is that win condition because it's so hard. I think you just need to engage on a fight when Gentleman Joby's not, when he's in the side lane with the set. You need to have some, great bullet time, a great pick by Stolen, maybe try to pick Dift off. That's been pretty easy for them to do throughout the game, and then take your fight while you're up a member or while Joby's not in the fight. I think that's probably the only way they're going to be able to get back into this game, because I think right now a 5v5 is just not going to go in their favor, basically, regardless of how they play it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You still have room to give a dragon here. I feel like you give this next dragon, set up close vision, try to get a pick that way, and if you can't, I mean, I guess fight in your base and hope for a really good bullet time, because that's pretty much what it's going to take at this point. Joby up in the top lane, still has Baron buff. They're still shoving, despite having taken all of the inhibitors in that last push. Actually, top one did respawn, strangely enough, so it is just a top inhib.
Yeah, that went down a while ago when Holy Divers won their last fight. Actually, the top inhibitor was taken.
Oh, Joby took it, yeah.
Yeah, so that has finally come back up. If that can go down, though, it could be a huge deal. Dift in the mid lane. Oh, no, he's in the wrong position. Once again, the flash. Nice Zani to buy a little bit of time. Dift, once again, just caught out, uses his flash, and he dies.
Yeah, and that's the picks we were talking about. If they can get Joby here, too, that could be pretty big. I don't think they get it. Stolen was maybe looking for that Dragon Steal. I feel like you give that and try to pick Joby here, but we've seen him steal some pretty big dragons before, so I don't blame him for trying. I don't think Missing Link alone can pick Joby. Yeah, that was a little strange walking up lane like that, but once again, Dift standing next to a control ward, almost like the sacrificial lamb. Makes me think, is he supposed to be dying here? Is that part of the comp? I don't know, but he definitely overextends there, and it was pretty strange. But we have Baron coming up in 2 minutes, so really no objectives coming up for the next little while. They being Glacial Nebula, already have vision set up in the area, so they really just kind of clear jungle camps, get the reset, buy items, come back, push to end. I think that's it.
Yeah, or they can just wait for an objective. They can wait for the Baron. They can wait for the Dragon Soul. They can just go for a fight. Basically, the world is their oyster. They can do whatever they want. I would expect Gentleman Joby to keep pushing in the top lane while the rest of the team kind of just groups in one of the other lanes and pushes in, tries to get pressure, and maybe cycle the inhibitors before maybe falling back to a Baron would probably be what I would guess. A little surprised not to see Joby take this fight. I think he probably could just one-shot Missing Link, but decides against it. Probably the smarter call. Discretion is the better part of valor, as they do say. So the bot lane going to survive another day for Holy Divers, although Joby walking forward again. He is going to go for the fight. This time the cleanse, and Joby's just dipping out straight away. The cleanse was used, exhaust as well. You definitely take that trade for just the ultimate.
Yeah, that shutdown goes up. Oh, Rapcore. Yikes, the pool gets them out of that situation, man. The shutdown gold on Joby, of course, shutdown gold is like a huge comeback mechanic. If you can pick the enemy carry, you get the gold. Joby's doing really well to protect against that. I feel like they know, hey, they're trying to pick me. I'm the only guy on my team who has shutdown gold. I'm alone in this lane. I need to be careful. And so that's why it makes sense. They just kind of get out of dodge almost immediately on sight of more than one member of Holy D at this point. And yeah, that's what we're seeing. It's going to be enormously hard to pick this Camille. It's just so easy for the Camille to escape. Now it is 5 members of Glacial Nebula in Holy Diver's base. We'll see what happens.
Everybody kind of just hanging out for now. There's not a clear and obvious way to really go about winning the game here.
Just hanging out.
It looks like honestly, everyone's just kind of hanging out. Looks like this might turn a little bit violent, though. A bit of a disagreement at dinner. Gentleman Joby going very low. He's going to be taken out of this one. Just kind of goes down. Missing like he is taken out. Shutdown Gold does go over. Aliuna as well, trying to buy a little bit of time. That's a great Showstopper coming through as well. Blastpro trying to carry their team throughout this fight. She's doing so much damage. Nice flash trying to get herself away, but she is going to get stunned and picked up by Missing Link, doing so much damage. Aliuna trying to get away from Rapcore. The speed, will it be enough? Can he get away from the transfusion? Does he need the blood transfusion? He does need it. He is taken out. Maybe he didn't get it actually, and he finds himself in the death chamber. That's an ace coming through. 5-for-1 fight in favor of the Holy Divers.
I do not believe my eyes, Carl. They got the early pick, Missing Link, on to Joby. After that, just kind of steamrolled. And the entire rest of the Holy Divers were basically able to just, like, stand there taking damage from Dip, from Blastpro, from Aliuna for, I don't know, like 15 seconds or something like that. Well, Missing Link just, you know, picked Joby, and they won the fight eventually. Missing Link just kind of went around killing different members one by one, and now Holy Divers are going to get the Baron for their trouble. This is huge for them. You look at the gold, only 1.5k lead now for Glacial Nebula, excuse me, where before it was like 4 or 5, I think. So this is pretty big here. The Holy Divers are definitely in a position to make a comeback. Now, they don't have like a lot of structures left. They got 2 towers, 3 inhibs, and a nexus, and you can't lose the nexus. So you can only give so much here. Yeah, this is still very much Glacial Nebula favored, but the Holy Divers looking a lot better than they were 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, in a pretty good position. The next fight, of course, will be around this dragon. This will be Soul for Glacial Nebula, so they're going to be wanting to get this one. But this Vayne is starting to become very scary. Has the 3 items, has a Phage as well. I'm not too sure what the Phage is building into. Nothing's really jumping to mind that might be going into. I mean,
Triforce, yeah.
Unlikely. Already, we have a Ruby Crystal as well, so that seems pretty unlikely. I don't know. We'll find out probably what Blastpro has in mind. Joby going to be finding himself against Spartan Might in the bot lane. Not too sure who wins this one. You'd have to think it's Joby centric, though. He has been winning throughout the game so far. There's the Showstopper and the ultimate from Gentleman Joby as well. Steris Gauge has been proc. Joby going to back himself away. Knows the backup is coming. The whole team, in fact, is coming to try to stop Joby from that one. Edgerina and Aliuna could be in a bit of trouble here. Able to get themselves away, though. Everybody escapes, but this dragon's up in 10 seconds. Teleport's coming through.
Yeah, teleport's coming through. This is going to be a fight over the dragon. Dift way out in front. Again, I'm not sure this part of the strat, the diff just gets picked or what, but it seems like that's what they're trying to do here. Now it's Holy D, they're on the dragon. This is soul point for them, not soul, and now both teams are on soul point, so it's a very hotly contested objective. Now this next one is going to be huge, man. That fight could be the end of this game. Now it is just Cloud Soul, so it's not like Ocean Soul or anything, right? But it's still a huge advantage, and I really feel like Holy D needs it if they're going to win this game. At this point, not sure if Glacial Nebula needs it. I think keeping away from Holy Divers would be a good idea, and now Holy Divers, still with the Baron buff, by the way, still have that up, are pushing down mid lane. Joby looking for some damage on Stolen, gets a little bit, but nothing worth noting there. Inhib turret taken down.
Yep. Tower goes down, focusing fire now onto the inhibitor. Holy Divers seem hesitant to pull the trigger. Joby is in the area here on the side, but I think you just need to take a fight here, win it, and win the game. I think that's the game plan now for the Holy Divers. You can't afford to just keep stalling this game out. At some point, you're going to lose a fight. Your base is going to get ripped to shreds. Basically, no structures left. You just have to take a fight here and win, I think, but they seem so hesitant to pull the trigger. Diff so far forward as well. Joby has to get himself out. A little bit of trading now. The ultimate goes
oh,
they're going to go on to Diff. He has no way to get away from this. The flash not going to be enough. Missingly has picked up that 1 kill. Aliuna spotted out on the side as well. Showstopper to try to get back to his team for Spartan Might, trying to keep their carries alive. Missingly is safe on the backline. Joby has to use the stopwatch, but it's probably not going to be enough to get himself away. He actually does escape from this one, but it doesn't make any difference. It's 5 for 3 so far. Holy Divers doing so well. 5 for 3 left on the map, I should say. Gentleman Joby doing some damage, but has to back himself away. The flash forward coming in by Rapcore, trying to pick up the kills, but he doesn't have the ultimate available. Goes into the Zanya Hourglass to buy a little bit more time. Spartan Mike could be finding himself tanking the turret up. He has the shield from the Haymaker, though, to keep himself alive for just a little bit longer. Rapcore now on a killing spree as the next is now open. It's 4 versus 2. Make it 4 versus 1. It's just Blastpro trying to carry their team throughout this game, but they cannot do it all the way. The Nexus is under fire. The Nexus is going to be going down. It's the Holy Divers picking up the game and picking up the series 2-1 over Glacial Nebula.
Yeah, I think the most surprising part of this game, which was full of surprises, was that last part when MF 1v1'd Blastpro on Vayne. Didn't expect that. That was pretty nuts. But yeah, every single part of that game was like, wait, what? First and foremost, Carl, there was no Dragon Soul this game. Wasn't expecting that. 38-minute game with no Dragon Soul. Both teams, 3 dragons. We got through 6 dragons, and nobody picked up 4 there. That was insane. Obviously, the Holy Divers comeback was absolutely nuts, considering they were up against Camille and Vayne. They just positioned so well, I think, especially in terms of protecting Missing Link. In most of those fights, Carl, I could not tell you which health bar was Missing Link. Like, I literally couldn't tell you. Like, I probably couldn't pick out MF's model from, like, how tight they were around each other. It was very well played by them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Missing Link is, you know, every time we see him on Misfortune, he pops off. I mean, no Pentakill this game, but the last time we saw him on Misfortune, it was that Pentakill coming through on stream. So I think a champion that you maybe need to start banning away against him as we go into these group playoffs. These 2 teams very likely to meet again in these playoffs. They should be the 1st and 2nd seeds, although there might be some, there's going to be some fun tiebreaker math, so we might see these teams going toe-to-toe, but it would be in that 2nd round regardless, actually, of what seed each of these 2 are. So it going to be very exciting. I think the rematch could be, you know, really a thriller. Would be best of 5 in that group final, so that could be definitely something to tune in for. But you maybe have to ban away this Misfortune. Every time he gets it, he just pops off on a very good practitioner of this champion. The cleanses this game were superb by Missing Link, able to get away from almost every CC and keep himself safe. 0 deaths in a game that was full of kills.
Yeah, and I gotta say, the whole Holy Divers strat of just rotating back and forth between just kind of like a normal League of Legends comp with MF, and then if, you know, MF gets banned out or they have like a bunch of their champions banned out, that they just rotate into this all tanks and late game carry comp. It's so wild to watch them transition between it. I mean, game 1, they played just like comfort picks, right? Pantheon top lane, J4 jungle. I forget a lot of the other picks actually, but I think those are basically the highlights, and it just didn't go very well for them. It was a very high damage comp. They didn't have a lot of frontline, didn't have a lot of things going for them. It was very much just like the solo queue, I want to win lane, and then if we win enough lanes, we just have to win the game by default, right? It didn't work out for them. Game 2, all of a sudden, here comes this comp where it's just Xayah and tanks, and Lissandra to ult assassins, and it worked really, really well. And they kind of ran it back here in game 3. I wasn't expecting it to work as well with an MF, but it definitely did. That late game MF was still incredible. So I'm not really sure how still, but yeah, it was insane.
Good resilience too by the Holy Divers, you know, going down 0-1 in this series and really bringing it back on the blue side. Maybe blue side's just a little bit too good right now, but the first picks did make a difference for them, able to secure some power picks as well. And I also want to give a shout out to Gentleman Joby on the side of Glacial. Nebula played his heart out in this series on the Camille and on the Akali in those 2 losses, just wasn't able to get anything done. Essentially played a great Maokai as well against with Spartan Might. Not unable to completely carry his team, especially in that Akali game, was so fed. His team just kept getting picked off, never really had a real team fight for him to pop off in, and I think really a big shout out to Cam. He played very well in the series.
Yeah, definitely. Joby played crazy. You know, we've already talked at length about Missing Link. I feel like some of the issues, in fact, most of the issues were probably in draft. In this series, there was definitely not as many as we normally see in some of the Sal Esports series, but in fact, there was a lot of in-game issues too. But a couple of the draft issues, man, the last pick Maokai in game 1 was strange. It ended up working out for them, but considering Glacial Nebula lost the series, I would say you might want to look at that. Now, that is a counter pick to Panth, I feel. I mean, it just goes even, it kind of shuts down Panth, the whole snowballing thing. So it was fine that they got that, but I mean, they first picked Pantheon. Where else is it going to go? You know? Right. I mean, the dude's name is Spartan Might. You can look him up in 10 seconds on OPGG, be like, yeah, it's a comfort pick for him. He's going top. You don't have to last pick your top laner at that point. They could have first picked Maokai. It would have had the same result. At that point, get a better counter pick for like mid lane, which had a weird matchup in game 1. But you know, it ended up working out for them. So yeah, at least in game 1 anyway. So it probably isn't that big of a deal. But just the couple things I saw that they might want to work on. Also, like losing all the dragons in game 2, and then I thought maybe not in game 3, but then in game 3 anyway. That was real rough. You can't do that. That's not good on either side either, really. I mean, Stolen, after getting all 4 dragons in game 2, dropped 3 in a row in game 3. That's really rough, man. Yeah, you can't be doing that either. So, yeah, but by and large, well played by both sides. I saw a lot of good stuff here. Even stuff I haven't seen before. I mean, Dift killing Rapcore early game, like back to back, was nuts.
Yeah, for sure, and a lot of good stuff seen by both of these teams, and I think will be interesting to see going into the playoffs if these two teams do meet again in the finals. Could be a fun rematch to see. You'll have to stick around to find out alongside us in those future games, but I think that's going to do it for our broadcast this evening. Excited that we got to see all 3 games between these two teams. Was quite a treat to be had for sure. If you want to learn more about Style Esports, you can do so at the Discord link that is below the stream, along with our website, YouTube, and some music credits down there. If you join the Discord, you can come chat with us, us casters, the other team members of these teams, just general community people. Always happy to talk about League of Legends and all things Style Esports. You'll also receive updates about when our next stream is, information about the teams, and anything else that you want to know about Style Esports can be discovered in that Discord. So be sure to check that out if you are interested. But with that being said, that's going to do it for us. On behalf of myself, my colorcaster Axman87, our host Skyriver for the night, the voice in our ear, making sure that we don't go too far astray from reality. We thank you all so much for watching. We will see you next time. Good night.